Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Only a Carpathian would come back to life now and choose New York. Tasty pick. Bonehead.
We were every bit the first. We lived, we breathed, we sweat, we paid the price to be the best. Never been about the boys in the office. The boys that have gone out there night in and night out doing everything they could to be the very best at what they chose to do in their life. Those boys are here tonight.
Well, I must have been away too long because my feelings are dead. I feel no remorse.
I only am who I am because I was born that way. I have a gift, and I am trying to not be selfish about it, but to use it.
My job consists of basically masking my contempt for the assholes in charge. And at least once a day, retiring to the men's room so I can jerk off while I fantasize about a life that doesn't so closely resemble hell.
It's my house, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Grab a dog, and I choke him, and I kick the shit out of him. And I all day long, I put up a dog's ass. Just bang, bang, bang up his ass. That's my pleasure.
Go back to bed, America. Your government has figured out how it all transpired. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
Sometimes shit happens. Someone has to deal with it. And who are you going to call?
Oh, you guys like to tell jokes and giggle and kid around, huh? Giggling like a bunch of young boys in a school dinner. Well, let me tell the joke.
And boom goes the dynamite.
On the first day of March, it was raining. It was raining worse than anything that I have ever seen. I drank 10 pints of beer and I cursed all the people there. I wished that all this rain was somebody down on me. And it's lending me £10, I'll buy you a drink. And mother wake me early in the morning. At the time I was working for a landlord, and he was the meanest bastard that you have ever seen. And to lose a single penny would grieve him awful sore. And he was a miserable bollocks and a bitch's bastard's whore. And it's lending me £10, I'll buy you a drink. And mother wake me early in the morning. I recall that we took care of him one Sunday. We got him out the back and we brought his fucking balls. And maybe that was dreaming and maybe that was real. But all I know is I left the place without a penny or fuck all. And it's lent me £10, I'll buy you a drink. And mother wake me early in the morning. But now the most charming of verandas, let's sit and watch the junkies and drunk the pen stores. 5 green bottles sitting on the floor. I wish to Christ that I had 50 more. And it's lending me £10, I'll buy you a drink. And mother wake me early in the morning. And it's lending me £10, I'll buy you a drink. And mother wake me early in the morning. The boys and me are drunk and looking for you. We'll eat your friggin' entrails and we won't give a damn. My daddy was a blusher and my mother a madam. My brother earned his medals at my lay in Vietnam. And it's lent me £10 to buy you a drink. And mother waked me early in the morning. On the first day of March it was raining. It was raining worse than anything that I have ever seen. Stay on the other side of the road, 'cause you can never tell. We're dressed like a gang of devils, we're the boys in the county hell. And it's lent me £10 to buy you a drink. And mother waked me early in the morning. And it's lent me £10 to buy you a drink. And mother waked me early in the morning.
There you go, buddies. It's Irish Week. It's the only band, the Pogues right there, the only band that I say has consistently been drunker than the Replacements. And when I hear that, like normally if you see that live, it sounds more like this as, and then people act like they know what they're singing. It's really a drunken mess. But that's what this week is all about. It is the Ron and Fez show. I'm Ron, there's Fezzy.
Hiya, buddies.
And make sure you don't start that Fezzy McWatley and all that stupid hack stuff. And there's Earl Douglas with us.
Hello, everybody.
Black Irish.
Earl is Black Irish. We were both going for the same gang, bumping our heads on the way to the mic to do the hack fucking Black Irish joke. And the real Irish guy is around here somewhere. Eastside Dave, who is just fucking basically, I don't know whether you know, his picture was on the Boy album cover back in the day. All right, Ron and Fez show. Right away, we want to plug a little contest that's going on, Fezzy.
This is going on the website boston.com. Boston.com. If you go to the business section,
right,
you can partake in a survey there, contest going on. The age-old question, which is better, XM or Sirius?
I say XM is.
I'm voting for XM.
Yeah, so all the XM cats are getting together with this. Make sure it gets out on the websites.
I already emailed Mikey Boy about it.
Yeah, get it out everywhere, too.
It's going to get out to everybody.
Yeah, I want everybody to vote on this one because, damn it, it's important. It's important that the people know. The fucking hayseeds of Boston have a right to know which service is better. They don't know. They're fucking sitting around terrestrial bound. They don't know. Somebody has to point it out to them.
This will decide it for Boston once and for all.
Yeah, so give it out again, Fez, how to get there.
Boston.com and go to the business section on that website.
So, yeah, let's get a link on all the buddy sites. Everybody's out there. Throw up a link and let all the regulars vote. All right, 866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here is Greg. Greg, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I want to thank you for giving up your seat at the Hard Rock Cafe, or the, fuck it, I don't know.
What, the Hard Rock Cafe?
Not the Hard Rock, the Rock and Roll Introduction.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was last night.
Yeah.
I was dragging my feet on it, and then Earl came up with the idea that Jimmy Norton would love to go. And how did that go over, Earl? You have a good time?
It was probably the greatest day in Jimmy's life.
See, it's better when you're a real, true fan of something to go there and really enjoy it.
Oh, he had an absolute... he hated the press room because the questions were so awful.
Right.
But he got he got 3 questions for Black Sabbath when you're only supposed to get 1.
Right.
And then he met the guys backstage and got a picture with them, all holding their trophies.
That's a fucking classic night.
Yeah, I mean, and he's in a tuxedo. He looked like $1 million.
What happened with the Blondie thing where she wouldn't let the old Blondie guys play?
Well, they explained that. Well, Chris Stein explained those 3 other guys. They sued Blondie when they reformed a couple of years ago.
Right.
They basically sued to get back into the band because Chris Stein, Clem Burke, and Deborah Harry reformed Blondie without those guys. And so they sued basically to get back into the band or at least to get a piece of the profits. And
so if they would have let him on stage last night, it would have been bad for the lawsuit?
No. Well, Chris Stein explained, he said, you know what, we were thinking about it, and then they pulled that little, can we please play? It was so embarrassing. It was such a cringe moment.
Yeah, but that's what kind of made it a classic moment.
Yeah, which will probably never make the VH1 broadcast, but it was
Oh, no, it should. Fucking Pete Best should show up and demand that he's let in, too. I should be part of this band. I was part of it from the beginning. Well, that was very cool of you to take Jimmy along and make sure that he had a good time.
I've never seen him that happy.
Yeah.
He was so... I don't know what made him happy, the fact that he asked intelligent questions for Black Sabbath, because the questions were awful.
I know what... You know what? Doesn't it happen anytime there's like a press conference? It's just fucking... It's like the press guys don't work hard enough at their job. Like they don't know what to ask, no matter what the topic has to be.
I think
It's a lot of how do you feel?
I think the other cringe moment, I think it was Blondie. Someone asked, "So when are you going on tour?" And I think Glenn Burke goes, "We've been on tour since Tuesday."
Right. So.
And you just heard a collective groan go through the whole press
You'll
room.
see us at the Crown Lounge. We're doing 2 shows on Tuesday night.
It's the Cringe Moment Tour.
I don't know where I fucking grabbed the Crown Lounge reference. That went back fucking 20 years. All right, Ron and Fez show, 866-RON-0-FEZ. This is it. Fezzy and I have a break. O&A are going to be doing their live show at the Hard Rock in this spot on Friday. So Thursday, our last time, Fezzy, and I don't know which direction to go with. I'm thinking about going way north to the Tundra, as far north as I can possibly get, or as far south as I can get. I don't know which direction.
Well, at least you know you want to go a direction.
Right.
You got that much down.
I either want to be deep in the jungles of Peru or way up in the fucking tundra where all I can see is white. Just constant white.
You and Heather Mills and Paul McCartney protecting seals.
Yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm going far. I'm going where seals can't live. If I go in that direction, I'm going where beyond life takes place. Either that or I'm going to call James Cameron and go under the sea. I just fucking need a little break here.
Me, I'm doing what I always do.
Let me guess. You and your family?
Yep. Heading to see the fam in Florida.
Everybody's sitting around with fucking, just sitting on the front porch.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Some sweet tea being passed around.
Knocking
that's
back
about
some
it.
sweet tea, yeah.
Exactly. Doing absolutely nothing. Well, I know what we'll do because it happens every vacation.
Complain about the heat?
Yeah, a lot of that.
You
a
know
lot of bug swatting.
What I like to see you do here in 2006 is pick up an AC for the folks. Let them enjoy themselves.
Oh, that's too big of a gift. That'll have to be around Christmas time.
Could start a fire.
And we'll probably, there'll be a game of Monopoly. I know that'll happen. And then also they will go through the newspaper, pick the very worst one possible, and then we'll all head out to the picture show and take a look at a movie.
Now, picture show, what year are you going? 1930? Are you going to grab some cool ones out of the icebox before you go to the picture show? Earl, you have no idea what a Hayseed Fez is and his family and his real background. Whenever you go to a picture show seems like it doesn't move at all. There's no moving images.
I thought he was going to say going to the Nickelodeon.
It almost is. Although I was thinking about this, like when I go out to Blockbuster, I still say I'm going to get videos. It never gets beyond me. And Virgin, I still call that a record store. I'm going to go down to the record store. There's no fucking records there.
I do the same thing. I'm like, I'm going to buy some records.
I know. You might as well be Grandpa Douglas at that point.
No, my favorite one was with my niece. We were moving once, and remember the spindles?
Yeah.
That you put on 45. She was like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Well, you put it on a 45." And she goes, "What's a 45?" And I felt 1,000,000 years old.
Right. Well,
you
should just told her it was a dildo and left it at that. Honey, that's a dildo, and I don't want you touching it. I don't know. Do you ever do this one, Fez? Because I got this from my mom, and if I say it now, people will laugh. Pocketbook.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of a purse, my mom always had a pocketbook, which I guess is just a purse, right? There's no difference for it?
Yeah, that's the same thing. A purse has compartments. That's where the pocketbook came from. It's a book of pockets.
Yeah, it's just a stupid name. My mom used it, and now I'll say pocketbook.
Yeah, as a kid, I was constantly having to go grab my mom's pocketbook.
Me too. Go get my pocketbook.
I will still run the sweeper from time to time.
Right, the sweeper. Which, again, what is that, an electric broom when you think about it?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, not even a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
It's still the sweeper.
It's just a sweeper that's just sweeping around. It's just a little sweeper out there. Now, down south, did you grow up saying, what did you call a soda? What I call soda?
Oh, everything was a Coke.
No matter what flavor it was.
No matter what flavor it was, you were going for a Coke.
Now, what if you wanted a Pepsi?
You still called it a Coke, but it was like, we're gonna go get Cokes. What do you want?
I want a Pepsi.
Yeah, you would have to say that specifically.
But I would have to say Pepsi now, but I would call the entire thing soda.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but like if I brought home like a 6-pack of anything,
right?
It was a 6-pack of Coke.
All right, what if I wanted you to go out and pick up a 6-pack of grape soda? Would you ask for grape Coke?
Yeah, it would be, what kind of Coke do you want? Grape. What kind of Coke do you want? A Dr. Pepper.
Now, that's beyond just, like, regional and into stupid. at that point. Because you can't call something by the wrong name. That's like saying you call every car a Chevy. It would not make any sense to say I'm getting a Ford Chevy. Here's Jason. Jason, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Mr. B.
Yeah.
Hey, did you used to go in and sit on the Davenport across from the buffet, too?
No, I never said the word Davenport. I think I would say carport, but I'm not exactly sure about that.
Yeah, we had a carport.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we had.
No, yeah, that's another one, too. When you built that extra room, what would you call it?
Florida room.
Yeah. A Florida room, everybody in Florida has a fucking Florida room. And I'm always going, isn't every room a Florida room? You can't get around it.
That's just the room.
Here's Joe. Joe, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, I wanted to ask Fez something. Fez, you sound like you had a little bit more info on the pocketbook. What else can you tell us?
It's where you kept your change purse.
Is that right? Change purse you would use?
Yeah.
What about this? Couch or sofa?
Couch.
Yeah. I would say couch, but if it folded out, I'd call it a sofa bed. It's the only time I ever said sofa.
Oh, right, yeah.
You would never say, don't worry about me, I can sleep on your couch bed.
See, a couch to me always seemed bigger than a sofa. A sofa seemed like a love seat.
I don't think I ever used the word love seat. I only saw that on TV. Here's Jeremy. Jeremy, you're on Ron and Fez.
What's up, buddies?
Hey, buddy.
Listen, growing up at the park, everybody called the slide a sliding pond. I don't know what the fuck that means now.
I always use the term sliding board.
We were just slide.
There's no water there. I don't get it.
I never even heard. Where did you grow up at?
Palisades Park, New Jersey.
Yeah. I never heard sliding pond. Never heard that one. Hey, Bo. Bo, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, buddies.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, up in Buffalo, they don't even call it soda. They call it shit pop.
See, I
Doesn't
never.
make any sense.
You know what? One time when I was a little kid, I was out in Wisconsin, and I was fucking asking for soda, and they said pop. And I'm like, what the? No, I don't want pop. It's fucking ridiculous. I was caught up. I might as well have been in France. I was in so fucking far away from these people.
We had a kid show up at school. New kid showed up, just moved to the area, called it pop.
Yeah.
And everyone was just on, you drink your dad?
Well, first of all, you guys are drinking Cokes no matter what it is. Did you say faucet or spigot?
Faucet.
Spigot guy. How about you, Earl?
Faucet.
Yeah. I always said spigot. That was with the thing in the backyard was always the spigot. Hey, Charlie. Charlie, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, buddy, this is Charlie. My grandfather was an old Italian guy that used to come home when he...
We lost you, bro. Here's Steven. Steven, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
I'm over here in New York.
Yeah.
All right? And all these guys refer to the SUVs as Jeep, especially the black guys.
Earl, do you know
Everything's
about
a
this?
Jeep.
You call an SUV a Jeep?
Yeah, we still refer to it as a
Everything,
Jeep.
no matter if it's a Chevy Blaze, if it's a Pathfinder, it's a Jeep.
Hey, I never heard that one at all. Here's Twisted Trucker. You're on the Ron and Fez show. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, all right, how you doing, Ron?
Yeah.
I know when I moved down to Florida and I got my first job and we're working, I said, hey, when do we take a break? And they said, we're going to take a break around dinner. I thought, hell, dinner, that's 6 o'clock. But they were referring to dinner as lunchtime.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We always had dinner. My grandmother, at lunchtime, that was dinner, and then dinner was supper.
Oh, what about at school? Did you say, what dinner are you? Or your first dinner, second dinner? What did you say?
At school, I would say lunch.
Then that's the name. You got to have some consistency to your life. I never understood that dinner-supper thing.
Yeah, it was always dinner. That was the noontime meal.
For me, dinner was just another name for supper.
Dinner was good.
All right, dinner was a noontime meal, right?
Right.
On Sundays, did you go out to Brenner?
Never.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The breakfast lunch, maybe the greatest invention of all time, brunch. It's not being called Brenner.
We also, on Sunday, we would have early supper instead of dinner.
Here is Jim. Jim, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, boys?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, my grandparents still call the remote control a button box, one of those old clicking boxes to change the cable TV channels.
I still will say clicker for that thing. I don't know why I say it, but I hate the name remote control. I really do.
I think I just always use remote. I think that was it for me.
How about now? Still?
Yeah, I use a remote. Where's the remote?
866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here is Michelle. Michelle, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Sneakers or tennis shoes?
I would say cons. Growing up, they were always because if you were wearing Converse at that age, but basically I would say sneakers. There wasn't even any fucking tennis around my neighborhood.
I always said tennis shoes.
Tennis? Did you play tennis in them?
Never.
Why didn't you call them at least basketball shoes?
I thought that was the name of them. Tennis shoes.
Earl, which direction did you go?
They were sneakers.
Here's the thing: you never saw tennis players wearing sneakers. They never wore what you called tennis shoes. I'm telling you right now, Fez, 90% of the words you use were ridiculous. Banana, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, banana hammock in Tampa. Any old people, they always call it a refrigerator. Doesn't matter what it is, a Frigidaire.
I think my aunt used to say the Frigidaire for some reason. Was that like an early make or something, Fez?
Yeah, that was the brand name that just took on, that was the item.
Yeah.
Like a Xerox.
Rick, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, boys.
Yeah.
I used to work with this guy about 10 years ago, and he's probably maybe 40 now.
Yeah.
He used to refer to a soda as Coke or Pepsi. Where he goes, hey, can you go to the store and get me a tonic?
A tonic.
What the fuck? What's he, in 1920 at a salsa club?
You know, yeah, a lot of that stuff does go down. Now, I remember when I was a kid, too. My aunts and uncles, my folks, my grandparents will go crazy on us kids if they caught us drinking the ginger ale or 7-Up or mixers, as they used to refer to them. I want you to stay away from the mixers. I'll make it a highball later. I'm like, it's a beverage. Why are you the only people who get it? Not until later when I understood how damn important it was.
How could you resist? There's soda sitting in there. There's drinks.
I thought it was Coke to you. Why are you calling it soda now?
I'm
Where
trying
do
to
you
change.
go with this? Here's Adam. Adam, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Ron, I was wondering if you cut yourself, do you use an adhesive bandage or a Band-Aid?
I still call it Band-Aid.
Band-Aid?
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's ever called it a bandage. I don't know if it goes down that way.
Adhesive bandage.
Yeah.
Seems a little wordy.
Hey, guys, a big thing going on today. If you want to vote, XM versus Sirius. It's all going down in Boston.
It's going to be decided on Boston.com. If you go to the business section on that website, Boston.com, you can vote which is better, XM or Sirius.
Here is Charlie. Charlie, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah, buddy. My grandfather, when he came over in this country, they taught him that the bathroom was called the back house or the back house.
The what?
The back house. They used to use the bathroom. Every time he would call the bathroom, he'd call it the back house.
I never heard that one at all.
No, I never heard that.
Yeah.
The back house.
Now, my grandfather, I remember he would always do this. Any kind of pier, he would call a bulkhead. He would always say the term bulkhead. And any kind of like the levee in New Orleans, that would have been a bulkhead to him. And anytime swimming, he would say overboard.
So Ron and Fez can do their show. Every fucking time they get something good going, the motherfucking telephones keep on blowing up. Every fucking time they get something good going, the motherfucking telephones keep on blowing up. Why won't Wiki fix the telephones? Why won't Wiki? Why won't Wiki? How can you build a pyramid without the callers calling in? How can you give out a big ass prize to losers like me who have no life? The Ron and Fez show on XM radio. Ron and Fez show on XM radio. Fez show 202, channel 202. Every fucking time they get something good going.
All right, there you have it. Earl, have you fixed them yet?
No, I have not.
Do me a favor. Leave here right now and go get a screwdriver and start trying to unscrew and screw things back in. See what happens.
You may just get lucky.
You know what you need is a Phillips head. That's what you're going to need. Go out and ask for a Phillips head. Here is Brian. Brian, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ron and Fez, how you guys doing?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, listen, I'm new to XM, but an old YNS listener.
Hey, how are you, pal?
Good. Hey, listen, I still turn the channel on my TV and dial my telephone.
I still say dial the
explain
telephone,
that to
too.
my kids, but
Yeah.
I haven't dialed the phone in 25 years.
Yeah, and I also say turn the channel. I didn't even think of either one of those.
Yeah, me neither. I totally use both of those.
Yeah. Now, our thing, I don't know what it was about our TV. We'd always break off the thing by, because you didn't have the remote. So we would be just turning it until you broke that off. The dial would actually come off the TV. So then you were just sitting there with a pair of pliers trying to see what was on TV the rest of the time.
Yeah, you would end up looking for that knob like you were looking for the remote.
And you remember this, too, is like everybody in our neighborhood, you had the real big TV that didn't work and then the portable TV on top of it.
Because TVs used to come in these gigantic wooden sets.
With a stereo.
Right. Yeah,
that was the big thing. There would be a stereo there. Well, those things, I don't know what it was. They were too big. They would last 6 months. You would be so proud of it. And then all it really was a stool for the little portable that would go there later.
I thought a remote control was just the lap of luxury.
Hey, we want you to go out and vote today. Big vote going down in Boston, Fez.
Boston.com is the website where you can vote for which is better, XM or Sirius. I'd go with XM.
So let's get some links up there on ronfez.net. See if Whackbag will throw up a link. ronandfezshow.net. fullblownaids.com, which, by the way, I found out not a medical site. So don't go there if you're really looking for help. Postwhores.net. The Post Whores gang can jump in. And Ron and Fez show at MySpace. All those folks welcome to get in and do some of the voting today, Fezzy. XM or Sirius is all taking place at the Boston.com.
You go to the business section on that website, Boston.com.
But, Earl, let's try to get people to put links up there so they can just go directly through.
Yes, I've already put the word out.
Did you get the screwdriver yet?
No, I did not.
You need a screwdriver at all times if you're going to fix the phones.
Or pour me a screwdriver.
I could actually use one. I'm ready to drop off those steps, Fezzy. What good does it do, really? Isn't drunk the same as being sober when you really think about it?
No.
Oh, that works for you. Oh, no, you don't drink anymore either.
No, I don't drink anymore, not since the heart attack.
Not since the diabetic thing?
Yeah, when I drank myself into a heart attack, man.
Yeah, but you're still enjoying pills.
Yeah, that still works for me.
Sure. That don't fuck with your diabetes. Tic Tac will kill you, but a goddamn roofie is fine. Here's G. G, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, pal? Oops, let me try again. Still trying. Now they're just leaking back in, right, Earl? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they just start to dribble back in, and then they'll all explode at once.
Yeah, great. G, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I got two things for you. One, on a donut, are they sprinkles or are they jimmies?
I would say sprinkle.
It's got to be sprinkles. I don't know what a jimmy is.
Well, you've heard the term jimmies, right?
No.
Yeah, I've heard it before.
Okay, and then the other thing, is it a bubbler or a drinking fountain?
I say, what do I call it? I don't know. I don't call it. I would say water fountain. That's what I would call it.
Not a bubbler, eh?
I never even heard the term bubbler.
No. Is that where the jimmies come out of, your bubbler?
I would actually, I would want this thing to bubble a lot more than a regular water fountain does.
No, it's a bubbler. Come on, it's a bubbler.
Now, remember at school when they invented the term lavatory for bathroom?
Like that was going to be polite.
Yes, who wants a... I remember that in first grade. Now, if you need to go to the laboratory, I'm going, what the fuck? We get science already? What the hell's happening here? I don't understand it.
A lot of times they just try to get you to do boys' room or girls' room.
I was just going to say I'm going to wait for recess and go out and piss next to a tree.
I had a former teacher who was in the Marines or whatever. He always said, don't say laboratory, say latrine.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a whole stupid thing, Earl. You found yourself in the Black Panthers at a very early age. Hey, Liz, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey,
What's
Liz.
up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
I need Bronx Johnny for this one.
Yeah, is Bronx Johnny in today? Go ahead. What do you got, Liz?
All right. I grew up in the South Bronx, 138 in Willis.
Yeah.
See, when I was young and my nanny wanted me, she asked me if I wanted Cheerios.
Now, by your nanny, you
no
mean your
matter
grandma? Hold on, your nanny, you mean your grandmother?
No, I mean like a family friend.
Okay.
And whatever I wanted cereal, no matter what flavor, it was Cheerios. Hey, you want Cheerios? Yeah, I want Cheerios. Which one? That one. It was Lucky Charms.
All right, let me check with
cereal.
Bronx Johnny. You called every cereal Cheerios?
Yeah.
You guys were as dumb as Fez down south. It doesn't make any sense at all. There are brand names to distinguish things.
A Coke and Cheerios could be Mountain Dew and Fruit Loops.
This must be the greatest world in the greatest news in the world to the good folks at Cheerios. They got to be thinking to themselves, no matter what they want, throw in Cheerios. I never heard that before, Liz. Yeah.
I had to point. Was it a Spanish thing, Bronx Johnny? You think?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so,
Yeah, it was
Johnny?
Spanish.
Yeah, no likelihood, yeah.
Y'all grew up with your nannies and your mansions and your limos.
All right, now what would you guys call a big sandwich that would have like ham and cheese and provolone and all kinds of stuff?
Just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich, Fez, you?
That's a sub.
Earl?
Hero.
That is a hoagie, my friends. There's only one word for that. It was invented in Philadelphia. That word should go everywhere. It's a hoagie. A hoagie. It's not a sub, or the worst of all when people will say, oh, a submarine sandwich. And I hate when anyone calls a cheesesteak a steak and cheese. It's just, forget about it. It's ridiculous to make such mistakes. Johnny, what did you call everything? Switchblade?
No.
Zip gun? Did you have any words in the Bronx that you find out other people don't use?
Yeah, a lot. Like, basic Ebonics, a lot of people don't say, like, pipe means, like, to have sex.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't use that.
To say we're going to pipe?
Yeah, but like, I want to pipe you, and they think you're going to hit them in the head with something. But
Yeah, I don't want you to do either.
In my case, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'd rather you hit me in the head than had sex with me, Johnny. I had not heard that term before. Had you, Fez?
No, I've never heard pipe.
Well, you know what? White people will be using it in 3 years. Wait 3 years, and then white people will be talking about laying some... I heard laying pipe, but not piping.
Exactly. I heard always like, yeah, you laying that pipe on her?
Yeah.
That was always the term for sex.
Here's Ronnie. Ronnie, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up, buddies?
Yeah.
Hey, I got an older cousin goes to the video store, and he'll rent a bag full of tapes, even if they're all DVDs.
Yeah, I still call that video store, which it's not. It's a DVD thing. And I probably will say, even for TiVo, and sometimes say I'm going to tape it, which is, again, ridiculous. But you can't keep up. What am I, robot master? That I'm able to deal with this? Hey, by the way, Earl, did you get that thing I sent you? That kid wrote a book?
Yes.
And it's called How to Survive the Upcoming Robot, invasion or something like that. This kid, he works in robotics. He's got a master's degree. He knows robots are going to turn on us one day. He's trying to teach us how to deal. Have you seen that new, I think it's Asimov or whatever, what it's up to now, this generation? It's running around like a little kid. Ryan, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey,
Yeah.
guys, how you doing?
Yeah.
What can we do for you, Ryan?
Say it again, bro. We're losing you. He's breaking up, but he's trying to say galoshes or rubbers. What did you say in your neighborhood?
Galoshes.
I said boots. I never said galoshes. First of all, if you even wore those kind of things, you were going to get a beat down at school.
yeah.
They were so pussy looking that you could not get away with it. And your mom would be like, here's your rain boots. And I'm like, nah, Mike. I'd rather just go in there with wet socks and try to fucking fit into the crowd.
Why make them bright yellow and red to stand out even more?
Earl, what did you call them?
Boots.
Yeah. I could never say galoshes. It's too stupid. It's not even a word. I hate when people say stuff like that. All right, we'll bring it down because we got a couple. But they keep blowing up because people want to be part of it?
Yes.
All right, hey, Jimmy, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, when you had to urinate.
Hey, it's the Radio Shark. How you doing, Jimmy?
My name is Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah, how are you, Jimmy?
I always said James.
Why wouldn't you just say Radio Shark when you know I'll go to you? You're not an outlaw here.
When you had to urinate, did you have to make a whiz, a piss, make pee-pee, or tinkle?
I always said piss.
Pee.
I'd be like 2 and I say, Mom, I got to take a hot piss. I'm not kidding.
Did you ever?
We lost you, brother. All the phones blew up. We didn't get rid of you. This is what happens. When they do come back on, who's ever we're talking to gets blown off. Just answer me, Earl. Like me and you
sudden
were
drop off.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went out to lunch yesterday?
Yes.
We were like individuals talking. We had a good time. Do that on the air. This is not you're not in trouble with me. You're not in trouble with Fez.
No, I was just allowing you to finish. I wasn't.
No, just like we can even talk over each other a little bit.
No, I just didn't want to step on you.
Drives me crazy. Here's Rich. Rich, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, in Connecticut, we don't call them subs, we call them grinders.
See, grinder is something you do when you're in 8th grade. You grinder. That's as quick. Did you get the grind at all? I remember actually asking, did you grinder? Thinking that was as good as you were going to get in like 7th or 8th grade.
That leads to piping.
Now, did you have that in the Bronx, Johnny?
Nah, man.
You never did any grinding?
Mm-mm.
Straight to piping?
Yeah.
Right off the bat?
Yeah.
You guys are banging in kindergarten? Here's Dave. Dave, you're on Ron and Fez.
There's a difference between a hero and a sub. A hero is when you just you slice it down the middle, but you don't cut all the way through. A sub is when you slice the bread completely through.
First of all,
and a grinder
is hot.
From old school, right, you fucking make a hoagie and you heat it up. It's a grinder.
First of all, these subs and all, where they're just basically slicing a big hot dog bun, the Wonder Bread shit, I can't even eat it anyway. It is the main thing I miss about Philly. Hey, Danny, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, guys, checking in from Conshohocken. How's it going?
Hey, how are you, my friend?
Good. Two things. Growing up in the Bronx, either we went to the Wallbounds for any friggin' grocery store that we had, or any other store was the 5 and dime.
My mom used to use the term drugstore. It was a 5 and dime, and all the stores used to be called Acme's. I'm going to that Acme.
Any convenience store was a 7-Eleven, no matter what it was out front.
Here is, 7-Eleven was like a chain thing, but when it was like a regular old-fashioned like drugstore, that was always 5 and dime. And that wasn't me. That was my folks saying it. Here's Beth. Beth, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hey, girl,
my
buddy.
Nana used to call dungarees, jeans, dungarees, and if you wore regular pants, they were long pants.
Right? That's true.
That was funny. My mom always used to say dungarees, too. I got you some dungarees. She wouldn't care what make they were, too.
Oh, my mom would try to pass that along.
Yeah.
That one I did not pick up on. Couldn't say dungarees.
Instead said jeans?
Yeah.
To me, jeans were for girls when I was little. Like a girl would wear jeans, a boy would wear dungarees. Like basically we were going out to the site and doing work. But you know what I'm saying? Nothing actually happened.
I couldn't pick up on the word slacks either.
Here's, again, a girl turn. Hey, Dana, you're on Ron and Fez.
Unfortunately, not a girl.
Oh, jeez.
But hey, I was born with it. What do you say?
How about people call you Spike? You know, there's
that's okay. That works.
It's one thing you're stuck with that label, but you don't have to tell us.
Well, hey, my dad gave it to me, so what can I do?
Well, you know, if I told you what Fez's dad gave him, and he's still trying to get over it to this day. What do you got there, Dana?
Hey, in Maine, a driveway is not a driveway; it's a dooryard.
I never heard that in my life.
And the sandwiches are Italians, not subs or grinders. They're Italians.
It's funny because in Florida, people will call that Cubans. You'll go out for a Cuban. And it's like basically a little more Spanish, but more of like a hot grinder. All right, thanks, Dana.
Absolutely.
You take care, cutie pie. There you go, sweetheart. 866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ. Phones blew up how many times today, Earl?
4 times at least.
Is there anything you can do about it? You got the screwdriver?
I got my tool belt and getting cracking on it.
All right. Let's try to get everybody involved, Fezzy. Get them out there voting.
Boston.com is the website. The question they're asking online is, which is better, XM or Sirius? You can go to Boston.com and vote in their business section on that website.
We got something on RonFez.net there, Earl?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll also ask the folks at Whackbag, RonandFezShow.net, Full-Blown AIDS, by the way, .com, not a medical site, PostTours.net, and Ron and Fez Show at MySpace. Here is Dan. Dan, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
When I was younger, my grandfather used to make me call taking a shit a BM.
I remember the old people would say BM for bowel movement is what it stood for. Yeah. My grandmother taught me dropping a deuce, and I didn't even know where that came from. She said, you better make sure you drop a deuce. We're heading out for a long drive.
When you're on the playground, Did you play on the monkey bars or the jungle gym?
I played on monkey bars.
We were monkey bars.
Earl?
Monkey bars.
I bet.
Hey.
Let me check with Bronx Johnny. What they say in the BX?
Monkey bars.
Yeah. What would be Spanish for that?
I have no idea.
None at all? Do you
No.
speak Spanish at all?
Yeah, I do, but I've never heard them use that.
Yeah. All right. Here's Jason. Jason, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, buddies?
Hey, buddy boy.
Hoagies are pit stains.
I never heard this term in my life.
That
Now,
actually
Really?
sounds disgusting.
Where did you say that at?
Like East Side Dave's got some big hoagies.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Here's Kay. Kay, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi. You guys
Yeah.
remember when you were little and you'd get cut, and instead of putting Mercurochrome on you, we called it monkey blood.
I never heard that term in my life. Monkey blood.
Heard of iodine.
Because it was red. Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was red, but we called it monkey blood.
That just reminded me, there was something we used to chuck at each other we called monkey balls. I don't know what it was. They were real sharp. They fell out of a tree. But we would always have a monkey ball fight. And I have no idea what kind of tree that was or anything now. Crotch Cricket, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My granddaddy, when we were small, they used to call short pants his short sleeve breeches.
Where was this? Where was this at?
And a Davenport is a couch. You said you used to park your car in it. Jesus Christ, somebody get killed sitting there on the Davenport you trying to drive.
Wasn't Davenport also like a carport, Fez?
That's what I always thought.
Yeah.
No, Davenport is a couch. That's the same thing as a couch.
Isn't it amazing we all speak English and there's just so many different terms as you cruise around? Now, Fez, on a cake, was it icing or frosting for you?
Icing.
I always went with icing, too.
Icing.
Yeah.
Frosting.
Frosting. Now, what if you were having spaghetti, what was the red stuff you poured on it?
Spaghetti sauce.
That's gravy. Earl?
Spaghetti sauce.
Ketchup.
Ketchup, you poor bastard. You poor, pathetic bastard. See, I always call it sauce, too, but then I was with, with an Italian chick and gravy. She's like, you want any gravy on that? I'm like, fuck no. Why don't you grab some of that sauce? It's delicious. But now I'm up to saying it, you know? Of course, she also has me saying all kinds of crazy-ass shit. I call I'm not going to get into it. Hey, Scott, you're on Ron and Fez. Some of it's a little embarrassing. Yeah.
I haven't heard this one yet. I grew up calling a couch a divan.
Never heard of it. Where'd you grow up at?
Missouri, Ozarks.
So, did everybody say it in your neighborhood? Sit on the divan?
You know what? Everybody in my family, my grandma and grandpa's, aunt and uncles, they all call it a divan.
See, that's
I remember, I'd have friends over and I'd say something about a divan or something. They're like, didn't know what I was talking about.
See,
but some people did, but
yeah.
I don't really remember.
That's the thing that family doesn't understand when they have their own little terms. The kid has to go out and interact with the world. The kid doesn't get to stay home like you inbreds, just sitting there on the divan, and he's got to be able to communicate with people.
That happened with my little brother. He was so much younger than me and my other siblings that any word that he mispronounced, the family just started using that word because it was so adorable. So he would go into the world, calling pudding, kudding, and that's happy dappy instead of happy birthday. Just didn't know any better.
Someone needs to fix these phones so Ron and Fez can do their show. Every fucking time they get something good going.
All right, they blow up on us again. What about your grandparents? What did you call your grandmother and grandfather?
Oh, that was Nana and Papa.
What about your
mom and dad?
You called them mom and dad?
Yeah.
Because you didn't know your real parents?
No.
Jeez, sorry about that.
Like P.J. Burke in my neighborhood.
It's kind of sad, though. It's kind of sad. I had my mom and pop up. What about for you, Earl?
I even went to bigger extremes. Granddaddy or grandmama.
Yeah, that's real Southern.
That's very Southern.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you ever get over and you find out, like, one of the other kids had, like, a crazy name? There was a kid, he had a bocce in my neighborhood. My bocce's coming over. I'm like, what? The hell kind of a sick bastard is this going to be?
The kids across the street from us had a Mimi.
Then, of course, there was always Big Mama and Big Daddy.
There is nothing worse than names for grandparents. They are the stupidest things ever. I heard of a May and a Pay. Like, you got to be out of your mind. I was going to say, what do you guys want to be? But I'm the only one who has kids. I look around here. I'm fucking with the 40-year-old virgins. Nobody even has a chance of being a grandparent. Grover, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, body boy.
Hey, Ron, do you remember the expressions geech, grip, or mole, being from Philly?
Used for what?
If somebody said something stupid, you would take the palm of your hand and squeeze their face and say one of those three things?
No.
You guys have that?
No, we didn't have that at all. We didn't have that one at all.
We didn't have anything like that.
One thing that we used to say there, though, like if you were playing basketball or you came up and some kids were playing baseball, you always said this phrase, "Give me a game," which meant "let me play." And I always thought I always thought it was normal. And then later when I, moved, I would say, "Yeah, give me a game," and people were like, "What? Give you a game?" But when you think about it, it's fucking way hipper than said, "Let me play with you fellas. I would love to play right now." Here's Dan. Dan, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
When I was up here in Michigan, they call convenience stores party stores. So
I remember that from True Romance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that term from True Romance. I'm going down to the party store. And
I live in the same city with the same shitty airplanes going over my house.
I thought that was for a liquor store, but it's any kind of convenience store?
And any convenience store, they'll call it party. When I was in Florida on spring break, I'm asking the cops, "Where's the party store? Where's the party?" They fucking followed us for like a half hour.
Why wouldn't they? Because,
It's a party.
Yeah. All right, see you later.
All
right. Let's see. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Phones are blown up again, though, Earl. How many times now is that?
I think 6 or 7 actually, because they blow out in spurts now.
Did you hear back yesterday about it?
Nope. Actually, I take that back. Mars said they were working on it.
Bring up the screwdriver theory. I think we're going to need a screwdriver.
How about an axe?
That might be something you could do, Earl, where you just tell everyone that's supposedly working on this, "I will fix it myself. I'll start messing around in there." Just kind of threaten them with that.
I like your axe idea, kind of V for Vendetta, because once it's broken, they have to go out and get a new system.
There's nothing better than an axe. It always seems to solve a lot of problems.
Instead of putting an adhesive bandage on these.
Now, Fez, did you ever say the name pasta when you were younger?
No, everything was spaghetti.
No matter what it was?
Right. Yeah, even if it was... Or macaroni. We would use macaroni
we'd say macaroni, too. But it seemed like pasta's, fairly new, like the last 10, 15 years. And it just caught on like gangbusters. So you can't get around it. What did you used to pour your ketchup on there, Bronx Johnny, you poor bastard?
Chef Boyardee.
I just think a little Bronx Johnny up there. Some cold water flat he's living in the Bronx, pouring ketchup on like it's a meal. Ketchup was an entree for this poor kid.
Not having enough Cheerios to eat in the morning.
What kind of sandwiches were you making for yourself? Mayonnaise?
We kind of have a down south thing on peanut butter and, not peanut butter, mayonnaise and banana sandwich.
Yeah.
Do that, peanut butter with banana, whatever.
Anything to stay alive?
Basically.
Just trying to stay alive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what'd you call pet? Cockroach up there? What was it? Water bug? This Bronx Johnny, he's got like a little leash on a cockroach. He's calling it Fido. Poor son of a bitch.
The termites have babies.
Yeah.
We have to name them.
Do me a favor. Go into Petty Cash and make sure this kid gets to eat tonight, Earl.
And not ketchup.
I don't want him having mayonnaise and banana. And then he's saying it's a down south thing. I don't know how far south that is, but it's a lot further south than our south.
South Ecuador. South America is what
South
he's talking.
South D representing. Yeah.
Oh, man.
What's the hat for today with the A on it?
Huh? Oh, this is a Dodgers hat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't see the L there. It was because it's all camouflage.
That's the thing now, to make these ball caps not look like the teams that they're for.
By the way, I would never say the term ball cap in my life.
Mm-mm.
What's that then?
Fitted.
Fitted cap?
What do you call it?
Fitted. We call them fitted.
What do you call it, Earl?
I always call it a hat, even though it's a cap.
I know. I'd say I'd say a hat if it was like that, but had a baseball cap, never just a straight ball cap. Because I got to let people know exactly what I'm talking about here. Hi, you're on the Ron and Fez show. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
You guys, when you were growing up, did you guys play catch or have a catch?
We had a catch.
Play catch is what I saw the other kids
Play
doing.
catch, yeah. I saw out your window. What about you?
Through the picture window.
We played catch.
Yeah. Here's Franco. You're on Ron and Fez.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
I'm from Long Island. We always called it Heroes, but if I went to Philly, I would always order a cheesesteak hoagie because that was like specific.
I hate
right?
when people would say that. No, it's just a cheesesteak.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a cheesesteak hoagie.
Well, some places it was like specific, like if you wanted lettuce and tomato on it.
You, my friend, might have had to. Were probably in Jersey if you were fucking ordering a cheesesteak hoagie.
Nah, man, it was Tony Luke's.
Yeah, but you were ordering it the wrong way. All right, what else you got for us, Franco?
You guys call it chalkboard or blackboard?
I say blackboard.
Blackboard.
Chalkboard.
Yeah, we always said blackboard. I actually teach
Blackboard.
students now, like little kids these days, and they call it chalkboard. They're like, it's not black, it's green. I was like, it's still a blackboard.
Yeah, I know. But, even in the military, they stopped using the term blackboard because to be politically correct, they don't want anybody getting their feelings hurt. I know it's odd, but I guess you're not allowed to mention color at all anymore. Hey, Diesel, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, how you doing? It's Diesel from Alley Pond.
Hey, how are you?
I run a machine, and I can't stand when
Okay, I got me on a
everybody
radio
calls
show.
every machine they see a tractor.
Every machine will be called a tractor?
Every machine they call a tractor. Oh, you run that tractor over there? A tractor. Can't be an excavator, can't be a payloader, can't be a dyno. It's got to be a tractor.
That makes it simple. I like that idea.
But you're the guy who calls every beverage a Coke.
See, I'm trying to simplify.
866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ.
Did you have a stove or a range?
I had a stove.
We had a stove.
Yeah. I didn't even understand the name range. What about you, Johnny?
Oven.
By oven, what do you mean? Like some kind of barrel that you guys would burn stuff in out in the, out in
Heat
the
up
alley?
the ketchup.
When that ketchup is nice and hot, you're on your way. What about you, Earl?
It was the stove.
Yeah.
Tinfoil, aluminum foil.
I think my parents always said aluminum foil, but since my dad made plastic for a living, we used to have these big things of plastic that will last like 19 months.
We were tinfoil.
Yeah, well, it's probably not either, right?
No, I doubt it.
Maybe it's aluminum, but I don't know. I know it's not tin.
It can't be.
Yeah.
It was always aluminum foil. My parents called it aluminum foil. We called it tin foil.
Yeah.
Shiny paper.
Just shiny paper that one day you dropped the getting?
Jewelry.
Yeah.
That's what he called
First
it.
of all, there was no food, there was no leftovers for them to keep for another day. Just to eat everything you can. God bless you, Johnny.
Where people have a yard sale, a lawn sale, or a garage sale.
I never did any, but I would probably say garage sale.
I think we went with yard sale.
Did your parents ever do it?
No, but they would take their stuff to a neighbor's yard sale.
So it was yardstick.
Yardstick?
Yes.
I'm gonna go out to a yardstick and buy something.
I'm sorry.
What are you fucking doing in there, Earl?
No, it's just falling apart in here. I'm so sorry. I really am.
Yardstick.
Where you could buy different measuring instruments.
You see those headphones? Listen to them every once in a while.
Are they on? The rummage sale is something a church would have.
No, I never heard that term. I mean, to me, rummage seems so old.
That seems like you're going through the town dump.
Yeah. By the way, did you say dump?
Yeah.
That's what we had in our neighborhood, too. We're going to the dump. It was such a big thrilling thing when you went to the dump. Just to chuck stuff down in a hole.
The dump was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Hi, you're on the Ron and Fez show. Who's this? Hey, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yo, what's up, buddies?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, the term hooking up, does that mean to kiss or to fuck?
Let me go to Johnny. You're on the cutting edge.
Hooking up is usually fuck.
Yeah, you're going to bang all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you would also say, I hope to hook up with her. So it really could be used either way. George, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, George from Pennsylvania. In
Hey, buddy.
Massachusetts, they call liquor stores package stores.
Yeah, I've heard that term. Now, also in Pennsylvania, there used to be a beer distributor where all he would sell was beer, like out of a big garage. You couldn't buy anything else. You couldn't buy wine or anything from him.
Just going to a beer warehouse.
Here is Jeff. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
Hey, do you stand in line or online?
I think New York is the only place that says online. Everywhere
Yeah,
else
I
in the
know.
country says inline.
I always stood in line until I got to New York.
Here's what bugs me. I notice this now. People are starting to say, instead of line up, queue up. It's an English term, and it's getting used. When you're reading, it's used all the time now. Have you noticed that, Earl?
I heard it here and there, and
Yeah.
I never really kind of.
You won't hear it more. You won't hear it vocally, but you'll read it more and more in the newspaper. And it's driving me crazy because we're not British. We got our own way of doing things around here.
Exactly. It's either one or the other, and I think the term doesn't say anything. It stinks.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I don't like new terms. I'm not crazy about people, instead of saying niche now, they're saying niche. And it's happening across the board.
Yeah, that has definitely changed where it swung the niche way.
Yeah.
Harassment has gone that way with harassment.
I can't break out. I can't say harassment. I'm not British. If I go to London, I'll start saying harassment.
This new thing that they've got now, because the administration refuses to say civil war in Iraq, even though 69 dead in something that's not a civil war just yesterday.
Right.
Sectarian violence.
What is it?
Sectarian violence.
Yeah, so that's more of a thing of like a spin word, that they'll just like the word exit strategy came up, and now people started to use it for everything. You know, when we were leaving JFK, they started talking to us about an exit strategy. I go, this whole term didn't even exist 12 months ago, and now everybody's trying to act like it makes sense. Drives me crazy.
Terrestrial radio, same thing. Where all of a sudden radio's terrestrial.
I like that, though. You're not the radio anymore. You're just terrestrial. Satellite radio, there's only one for you, folks, XM. We want you guys to hop in and join this little contest that's going on in Boston right now.
Give XM your vote on Boston.com. You can go to the business section on that website, Boston.com, where you can vote for your favorite satellite service, XM.
So we're going to put a link up on ronfez.net, try to get one up on whackbag.com, ronandfezshow.net, fullblownaids.com, posttours.net, or MySpace, Ron and Fez Show. Any of those places, we'll try to get links up so you can link right in and vote for yourself. Here's Jimmy. Jimmy, you're on the Ron and Fez Show.
Pancakes or hotcakes?
I always said pancakes. I never even liked the term hotcakes.
We're pancakes.
Yeah. Here's Ryan. Ryan, you're on the Ron and Fez Show.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
The one that made me really uncomfortable was bathing suits or swimming trunks, if you said swimming trunks.
I always said bathing suit.
Yeah, bathing suit or my suit.
Trunks sound like something your grandfather would put on. What would you have, Johnny?
Water shorts.
Water shorts?
Yeah.
Because you didn't swim, did you?
Not really. I try not to go past my knee.
You just ran through water like you guys would go up there and what? Open up the hydrant?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, you're right.
That was Earl's getaway vacation, wasn't it? When the hydrant opened up.
It was a summer dream, man. That's like summer in the city when you.
So many people in New York will open up hydrants in the summer that if there's a fire anywhere, the whole damn city will blow down because these kids are splashing around in a gutter, in a filthy gutter, in this water.
And the firemen hated us. It'd be like 96 in the shade, and all of a sudden, Dad, just open it up. Someone take a big power wrench and let it rip. And all of a sudden, you just hear the fire truck screaming around the corner. And what are you kids doing? You're killing us.
And there's Bronx Johnny in his water shorts standing out there having the time of his life. All right, we'll take a break here. We'll be right back. Ron and Fez.
Ron and Fez, XM 202.
Ron and Fez Show.
If you go to Boston.com, that website, you can check out the contest that's going on now. Hot and Heavy, XM versus Sirius, which is better? You go to the business section on Boston.com.
I guess they were trying to, stack this thing early this morning, Fez, but somebody just let me know that XM is pulled into the lead.
Woo-hoo!
One of the listeners. And then also, this is the link is up on Cosmic Circus. Is it .com?
TheCosmicCircus.com.
TheCosmicCircus.com. I got to remember that I never say the. TheCosmicCircus.com. There's also the phone song on there that you can listen to anytime you want. The new world-famous phone song.
In case your own phones go out at home, you can play along like you're Ron and Fez.
Yeah, you could deal the same way we do. I want one of those for my house, too, because my cell phone sometimes goes out, and I actually, I need to know. I need to know all the time. Here's Brian. Brian, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Welcome to the Ron and Fez program.
Hey, those the little monkey ball things you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
They're seed pods from a sweet gum tree.
And they're like real, like they're almost like little stickers that you can throw at each other.
Yeah, they got like little spikes all over them.
Yeah.
Nasty little buggers, I'll tell you.
I know. I forgot all about that. But you take a monkey ball in the neck, and I'm gonna tell you, Fezzy, it hurts like hell.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
That's not a good game.
Well, anything a kid can find, he'll throw. Hey, Chris, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
Fezzy, I wanted to ask you if when you went down there, did you call that going down on her or eating her out?
What did they say in your neighborhood?
That was going down.
We were all but did you eat her out? I ate her out. It's so gross when you really think back on it. But it's I never even heard of oral until like 10 years ago. Earl, what did they say in your neighborhood?
Eating her out.
Yeah. It's kind of fucking gross when you think about it. I ate her out. Ugh. It's disgusting. And you don't wonder why women hate us. Tony, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, in our schools and our families, we were always taught it was the sharpshooter, but relatives down south called it the scorpion deathlock. Which one was it?
Fez, where do you go on that one?
I grew up on Scorpion Deathlock.
Yeah, I'm all sharpshooter. Earl?
Got to go with the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart going into the WWE Hall of Fame this class.
Well needed, huh? Who
Yeah.
else? Who else is in on that?
Well,
Try to get Jimmy Norton in for that too, Earl.
Bret Hart's going in. He's being inducted by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Eddie Guerrero going in posthumously. Gene Okerlund, the announcer, makes the cut this year.
Still alive?
Still alive.
Nice.
I thought he was in already. Vern Gagne makes it in. He'll be inducted by his do-nothing son, Greg Gagne.
Still alive?
Still alive. Held the AWA world title like 20 times when he was running that promotion. And Sensational Sherry.
Really?
I know. It's like all of a sudden one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. I don't know if I would put... For me, Sensational Sherry is going in exactly like Blondie. Like, yeah, there was a short time, but I don't know if I'd make Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so that's the list so far going into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, they keep adding?
Yeah, each week another name gets added, headed up to WrestleMania. There'll probably be one or two more names that make the list.
I like to see somebody come in with an animal. None of the animal acts seem to make it in there, Fez.
Coco Beware.
Yeah.
And just actually Frankie the bird.
Is Frankie still alive? Does anybody know if Frankie's still alive?
Frankie will probably go in before Coco Beware does.
Come on, you love Coco.
What about Jake the Snake Roberts?
He's the king, man.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Bring him to your WrestleMania city and then be responsible for him lucid downtown, wherever.
You know where he's going to be, Martin Luther King Boulevard. That's the only place you're going to find Jake the Snake.
MLK Boulevard, Anytown, USA.
I like anybody who blames their drinking or drug problems on the business. This business, it'll do it to you.
This is where you're down.
Traveling so hard, the only thing you can do is put a crack pipe up to your mouth. Because you know most people dream of traveling, and you get to do it. You get to have people clap for you, but all you can do now is smoke crack to deal.
Yes, you're traveling constantly, but your job consists of 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, but of getting kicked, though.
Oh.
I got to give them that. There's a lot of kicking there.
Very few people went the hour time limit.
Well, what about the Nature Boy? He was willing to do it back to back.
The 60-minute man.
Yeah. Robert, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Yeah, we're okay.
Good. My wife is from upstate New York, and she would often use the word itch and scratch and switch the meaning.
Like itch my back?
She would say, yeah, itch my back, or ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, I got to itch my arm.
Yeah.
You know, itch is a feeling, not an action.
Yeah, you basically didn't marry a very bright woman. Here comes Little Johnny. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing? A couple weeks ago, I actually saw Jake the Snake wrestle in Philadelphia against the Sandman.
Yeah.
And it was a very short match. It was under 2 minutes. He could barely do the DDT.
Loser goes to rehab.
Where did you see this? At what flea market?
It was a fed called PWU.
Uh-huh.
PWU.
How many people were there?
It was terrible. It was like maybe 50.
50, but you're going crazy, though, right?
Yeah, of course. It's
Yeah.
the Sandman.
Including
It's
the
Sandman and Jake
wrestlers.
the Snake.
50 including the cast.
How did the snake look? Awful?
Yeah, he looked terrible.
Yeah.
He looked bad.
But you tried living the life he had and still making it to a 2-minute match. You got to give him all the credit in the world.
They did a thing with him not too long ago on the WWE on the Raw show, maybe about a year ago, and I didn't recognize him. I had to figure out that it was Jake the Snake Roberts in the ring, looking nothing like he did, just so bloated and so worn out.
Still sporting the Zubaz, though. You got to give him all the credit in the world there. He's not going to be shook by it.
And the skullet.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he looks like $1 million. I think he looks better now than he did back in the day. Maybe that's me, but I think he looks fantastic.
It looks like it's filled with sandwiches, that bag that used to carry the snake. He's that big now.
We got a bag of snakes and sandwiches, Earl.
You get a bag of sandwiches. I don't know about the snakes.
Boy, we all went out for lunch yesterday, and Fez hustled us into a health food restaurant.
I had the vegetarian chili over brown rice.
I had the blah. I guess it was just the blahs. What did you think, Earl?
I was all right. I had a salad and.
All right is not what I'm looking for if I'm living in Manhattan. When I was in Fairfax, yes, I would settle for all right. Here, I want to blow up a little bit. Remember my other trick. We act like, okay, we're all heading home. We meet around the corner after Fez leaves, and we go out to a nice place and eat.
That's the plan?
We can't eat like that all the time, Fez. I told you when you had your heart attack. We can't be there to back you up.
When I had the heart attack, you said we were all going to jump in and help Fez, and we're all eating healthy from now on.
You knew I thought you were dying. You knew that. And I would have said anything to hold you back. But I can't just be eating bland all the time.
It's not easy, trust me.
Do you see this thing where Dennis Quaid is saying he's manorexic?
What the hell is manorexic?
It's anorexic, but you don't want to sound like you have a vagina, so he invents the term manorexic for himself.
Oh, if he gets a tumor, he's got mancer.
He also does a lot of the face stuff, if you notice. His face is as tight as a snare drum now.
Oh, yeah, there's like a turnkey back there that he just does a tighten-up with.
I thought the whole idea of being a guy is that you didn't have to care what your face looks like or the fact that you put on weight. I thought that was the point, that we're not women.
Was Billy Bob Thornton manorexic?
Yeah.
Or was that a urban myth?
No, he was manorexic. They're all manorexic now, even though the term didn't exist before yesterday. They're a bunch of manorexic pansies.
Because he dropped his sling blade weight fast. He got
Well, that's
thin.
what he weighed before. If you see any of the early Sling Blade movies, that's just what he looked like.
Oh, okay.
And then after everyone started paying attention to him, that's when manorexia turns its ugly head. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, I thought you had something for us, little John.
No, I was going to say, I think at one point, especially during your teenage years, most men are manorexic. With the zits, you're always concerned about your...
Oh, you're worried about your face and all? Yeah. So you haven't been out of it too long, huh? Have you?
Not really.
Fucking piece of face. What are you worried about? What do you care?
It's harder to go out and, confidence-wise, to try to pick up girls if you have...
That's why we drink. That's why we drink.
But I'm at an age where I can't do it legally.
Yes. I started at 14 hard.
I started at 14 too, but
yeah.
It's a lot harder to go out to a bar and do it,
Yeah, I know. They really have changed things. Here's Keith. Keith, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Just wanted to talk to you. First off, what do you guys call those knitted caps there? Do you call them stocking caps or toques?
No one calls it a toque. What would you call that, Earl?
We always call it a stocking cap.
Yeah, I didn't call it anything.
I think I would call it a cap or a winter cap.
I don't think I called it anything.
Up here, they're toques.
Yeah, I know. You're in Canada, right?
You betcha. We're kind of fucked up here.
Yeah.
About wrestling, too, I just want to mention, I seen Bret the Hitman Hart a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You want to talk about guys that look like shit.
Are you kidding me?
Has he let himself go?
Yeah.
Oh, he's getting all bloated up now.
That's surprising because I would have thought he would have went for anorexic.
Well,
I thought he's the type of guy to worry.
He's just still bitter living in the past, and since that stroke, he's just bloated up and losing his mind.
Does he look bad?
You go up, talk to him, you say, hey, Brad, how you doing? You got screwed by Sean. He starts losing his mind for a while, and then after about 10 minutes, you try leaving the guy, and he's still living in the past.
He's still bringing up what happened with Sean?
Oh, you bet. Every time he's on TV up here and everything like that, that's all he's losing his mind about.
Was he as beloved in Canada as they let on? Like, he could not lose that strap in Canada?
Well, I'm from Red Deer, Alberta, which is about an hour and a half from his hometown. Yeah, he was beloved around here because we had Stampede Wrestling.
Right.
For the longest time, the Hart promotion there. And
where they had all the titles.
Come through there. But But no, it was just he's losing his mind, and the Hearts were loved, but Brett wrecked it.
So they're not loved anymore, huh?
Not as much. No, Brett's just sour grapes now.
I bet when he goes into the Hall of Fame, the place pops for him big, though.
Oh, that's huge.
I bet it pops gigantic.
That's the inductee to get.
And they homer him every the odd event in Canada every time they add one of those in your houses or whatever. But no, when it comes down to it, he's best left just dead.
All right, see you later. Here's Smasher. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
The whole problem with Jake the Snake, I mean, he blames the industry. I watched Beyond the Mat. Dude, that guy's father had sex with his daughter, and that's who Jake's mother is.
Yeah.
You don't think that messed him up?
So you're saying he came out a genetic weirdo?
Yeah.
He was fine for a while, though.
Oh, dude, there's internal problems, dude. Once your life turns to shit, you kind of figure out what the hell is really going on in the beginning.
So it always comes back to my grandfather's my dad, no matter what happens.
Exactly.
You know what? I hate to say it probably happens more than you know.
His dad was a gigantic wrestler. Not popularity-wise, just size-wise.
Yeah.
Grizzly Smith.
Here's Matt. Matt, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Yeah.
Listen, wanted to find out what you guys used to call the night before Halloween. In my neighborhood in Jersey, it was Cabbage Night. And then when I told a friend of mine about it in college, he looked at me like I was nuts.
Start.
They
We
had
got
a
any
different name
cabbage?
for it.
Yeah. We would always call it Mischief Night.
That's the one that I heard, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Here's Ian. Ian, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys. Salute from Canada.
Hey, buddy. More Bret Hart talk?
Newfoundland has got to be the home of fucked up sayings. They've got, like, your front step is always called a bridge, or your shed or your barn is called a store, and any inanimate object is called a chummy.
So, like, give me that chummy?
Yeah, hand me the chummy, will you?
Yeah. I call everything a gimmick, so what am I to say?
I've heard the bridge thing. I've never heard the chummy thing.
Oh, the chummy thing, like, that's huge. And even when I visit, I come back saying it for a couple months. It's addictive.
And my Newfoundland relatives, they won't put the front steps on the front of their house. There's just a big drop-off from the front door to the ground because they dodge the house taxes that way. Because if you put the front steps on, the house is considered done and you'll have to start paying the taxes. So as long as it's still under construction for the past 30 years, you don't have to pay that.
How do they get in there? You got to climb in a rope to get in their house?
You go in the back door. There you can get in.
You backed this up, Ian?
Oh, yeah, that's so straight on. And another thing, you were talking about Coke. Everything there is Pepsi. Everything there is Pepsi. No matter what it is, I'm having a Pepsi.
Yeah. Or I'm going to go take a Pepsi when you want to get in the shower.
Yep.
Crazy bastards. Crazy Newfie bastards.
It's just so cold. There's nothing else to do.
I'd rather have Jake the Snake's blood pumping through me and that DNA than yours, Fez. I got to tell you the truth. The inbreeding that must take up in a place like, and you're going to wonder, because you always have a lot of phobias and stuff.
Right.
I bet it's the inbreeding that took place.
You think I'm inbred?
Well, I mean, I know that your dad married his mother, and
they were just close.
Oh, really? They're the same age?
Yes.
I had no idea. Ah, that's odd. That is odd. Huh. Hey, coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have Stephen Woolley on. He's got a brand new documentary. No, it's a docudrama, right? It's a film.
Yes, docudrama.
About the life of Brian Jones, or pretty much the death of Brian Jones. Most of it is, some of it's flashback, but most of the stuff takes place in the last 3 months of the life of Brian Jones, the founding father of the Rolling Stones. And, Earl, would you say fairly forgotten in rock history?
Forgotten, very underrated. Painfully.
Underrated?
Very, very underrated. He
Yeah.
pretty much gave the Stones their image, their edge. He brought in instrumentation to the band. You know, like if you hear Paint It Black, the opening riff to Paint It Black, that's Brian Jones.
Now, let me hear it. Let me hear it right now. I always love this song. Are we having problems with the delete still?
Just a few.
Yeah.
Hold on.
A little contest going on, Fez. We've been asked to help out a little bit.
Yeah, the question is, which is better, XM or Sirius? You can go to Boston.com. That's the website where you vote for XM. You go to the business section on that website, Boston.com.
Yeah. Boston.com, or you got it up at Cosmic Circus. There's a link, ronfez.net. And somebody sent me something. If you unblock some cookies, you can vote as much as you want. Yeah, vote as much as you want. As they say in Boston, vote early, vote often. All right, let's take a listen to this Brian Jones that you're bragging about. That is great, Earl.
I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black.
I really do love that era of Stones music, though.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of blues. It's very psychedelic in spots, and then it's just flat out great rock and roll.
All right, why don't we go to break? We come back. Stephen Woolley will be talking about his brand new film, Stoned. Stoned. It's all about Brian Jones and the weird stuff that took place around his death. After watching this, I was surprised to know the angle they took, because I always thought it was rumored, but they deal with it as if it was direct fact, the way Brian Jones died. I guess it was, 1969, Earl?
July of 69, yes.
Yeah. 27 years old. If you're going to be a rock star and you die, it's always 27. Some people get weird and go 28, but there's something weird about the age 27 for rock stars. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with Stephen Woolley. It's the Ron and Fez Show.
Ron Bennington, Fez Watley, the Ron and Fez Show. XM 202.
The Rolling Stones, the Ron and Fez Show here. Stephen Woolley is here. He's directed a new film called Stone. Stephen's also produced such films before, like The Crying Game, Interview with a Vampire, Scandal, Absolute Beginners. Is this the first film you directed, though?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's my directorial debut.
Now, people are always curious about what the producers do on a film, though. How's the job different? What do you do differently?
Well, why it's people get very confused because producers do different things on different movies. There's exec producers, associate producers, co-producers. I think for me as a producer, I generally get very creatively involved in the screenplay and casting and financing, seeing the film through, editing, choosing a composer. I usually work in partnership with the director as a producer. I think my golden rule as a producer, though, was always I would never tell the director where to put the camera, and I would never tell the actors what to do, what their motivation is for each scene, or how they should play their part. That's the director's prime function on a movie. So it was incredibly liberating on Stoned to finally put the camera where I would want to put it, and tell the actors what they should be doing. So it was kind of I hadn't realized I'd repressed this for 20-odd years, and I produced, apparently, over 40, or produced and exec produced over 40 movies. But to answer your question, what a producer does, the producer does everything and nothing. If you've done your job as a producer, you've set it up, you've got the right director, you've got the right cast, you've got the right schedule, you've got enough money in your budget, really, when the film is shooting, you should go on holiday, But it doesn't happen that way.
There's always a
crisis.
fire. There's always something to put out.
And as a producer, you're putting out small fires, so it doesn't become an inferno. So it's crisis management, it's diplomacy, and it's also sharing a vision. It's starting out. I made a comedy out here in America, and about halfway through we were looking at the dailies, and I was sitting by the director, and I said, that line played so much funnier in the script. And he looked at me and said, "We're not making some goddamn comedy.
Right.
And I thought, oh my God.
Doesn't know.
He's making a different movie.
Right.
And our financiers, who put up like $10 million or whatever it was, think we're going to deliver a comedy. So, you have to get as a producer, you've got to make sure that everybody on a film knows what they're making and what they're doing. And you're kind of, as I say, you're really great producers, or certainly good producers, or producers I admire. They're invisible on a picture.
Right.
They're not, you should be the invisible man. You should be everywhere and nowhere, because you're supporting everyone, you're conduit for everyone, but you're not you're dealing with so many egos that you can't afford to have another ego. Producers with egos are pretty frightening.
Now, your film, Stoned, everybody knows the Rolling Stones. I think some of the younger people probably don't know as much about Brian Jones. I don't know how it still is in England.
No, they know nothing.
Really? Is that
Brian
true?
Jones, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that odd?
Well, I mean, not really. It's odd to us because we may be of a generation that either lived through it or are fascinated by it and therefore bought the albums and looked back in time and realized that there was this guy called Brian Jones that formed the band, that was the catalyst for the band, who was the guy who really, was their acting manager at the beginning.
Yeah.
He was the real inspiration, he was the guy pushing them on. When Mick Jagger was at London School of Economics and Keith Richards was at art school, Brian was the guy who was doing the odd jobs, working to make this vision of the band come true. And I think that's the story people don't know about. And I'm of a certain age. I was a kid in the 60s, and I really had no idea who Brian Jones was until I read these two books, which I came across in the early 90s, which talked about the murder of Brian Jones. So not only was he the kind of icon that nobody knows about, he was also apparently murdered. So these two things kind of affected me, and I thought if I didn't know who Brian Jones was, or how influential or important he was, how he was the friend of Jimi Hendrix, he was the mate of John Lennon, he was the guy that Bob Dylan always came to visit, he was the guy that Andy Warhol knew.
Right.
If I didn't know about this guy, God, people younger than me would certainly not know about him. And also, then to discover he was murdered, these two things made me feel, that I should try and make a film about this character.
Was he a little bit older than the rest of the Stones? Is that how he kind of...
No, he wasn't that much older. He was older in experience.
Right.
Certainly, when Mick and Keith were they were very naive, they were very young. Brian had already fathered 3 children with 3 different women.
Right.
And he commanded this kind of seniority amongst the band because he always had a girlfriend. See, Mick and Keith didn't have girls in the early days. Brian always had a girlfriend, therefore he'd always get the double room. Brian's girlfriends generally had fathers with cars, so Brian wouldn't travel in the van. He'd travel ahead in the car with the girl. So Brian was always kind of getting these extra sort of, Brian was so sort of fussy about his hair. When they lived in this apartment, this dump in Edith Grove in Chelsea, Brian would always use all of the hot water to wash his hair in the morning. So Brian sort of naturally, like a stag, became the leader of the band in every which way. And they all had to learn from Brian. Brian taught Mick how to play harmonica. He played Robert Johnson to Keith Richards and said, listen to that slide guitar.
Right.
Let's see if we can make that work. Brian was the kind of natural leader of the band. When Andrew Loog Oldham took over, though, who'd worked previously with the Beatles, Andrew knew the secret trick to longevity, which is you write the songs. And so he really set up Keith and Mick as he didn't like Brian at all.
Right.
He didn't like Brian's swagger. He didn't like the fact that Brian was in charge of the band. He wanted to somehow take the band over. So he knew the way to do that, which was to say to Mick and Keith, you write the songs, Brian will see you down the pub.
Right.
So Brian was really taken off the scent. And Brian, to be honest, didn't really like the pop world. He was much more of a Renaissance kind of guy. He liked, the whole world of art.
There was no instrument that he touched that he couldn't play, right?
He could play anything. It's one of the things I regret about making this movie is that I didn't really get enough of that in there because I was so conscious, because I've been developing this for 12 years, and I was so conscious of not telling the Rolling Stones story, not wanting to play lots of Keith and Mick music on the film because it would have been disingenuous to the memory of Brian. So, I didn't want to put on all the classic Stones tracks, even though I grew up with them and loved them, but that was another movie. I wanted the music that influenced Brian. So I couldn't put on, onto the film too many of the little instrumentations and arrangements that Brian made to those early songs, but he could actually, within minutes, he could master any instrument.
Now, had you heard anything from the Stones camp?
No, they, you know, for the Rolling Stones, one has to look at it from their point of view. You know, they are a huge touring monster at the moment. I mean, their North American tour is bigger than anything they've ever done. You know, and they sell out Madison Square Gardens, Hollywood Bowl,
anything they want,
stadiums across
the circus
America.
has come to town. It's not even. No. It's just here's your opportunity to see this legend, and people go out.
I think it's Keith. I think everyone thinks Keith's going to pop his cogs, and they all think, I've got to see the Stones for one last time, and you know, I've got to see Keith Richards. I've got to take my children to see Keith Richards.
And people have been doing that since at least the 70s, saying, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
I know he's not going to live. We got to go see him.
Everyone else around Keith seems to die, and Keith never does.
No.
I mean, if there ever were a candidate for vampire, I think Keith Richards would be it. I mean,
that's your next movie.
Yeah, Keith Richards as the vampire. But no, Keith, I think, is one of the reasons why people keep returning. And it's also that they are a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing that Brian was lazy. You know, he wasn't. You know, he would rather record music with Volker Schlornoff in Germany, or go off to the Rift Mountains and record those Moroccan musicians. You know, he wanted to push his mind. He wanted to experiment. But what he didn't want to do is schlep across America, going from hotel to hotel. You know, doing the gig every night, and that pissed the band off. You know, especially Keith, because you know, Brian used to check himself into hospitals with fatigue. You know, they were all tired. Fatigue just means tired.
Right.
You know, and so Keith would be laying in a hospital for a clinic for a few days, and Keith would have to play the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar. So Keith and the rest of the band started to get very, very upset with Brian because he couldn't keep up the pace. But who could? I mean, who could? I can't imagine, you know, kids of 25 being able to do what Mick and Keith do now.
Sure.
And so they're a phenomenal couple, and I think that was the thing that distancing Brian. And of course, when he died, it was massively convenient because they fired him 3 weeks before his death. They had ironically fired him from his own band, the band he had formed.
And it was always the thing of like he was pushed out, and that also was devastating. Do you believe that to be true? Or?
Well, what was interesting, what I think, you know, from reading all the books and all the research I did, and I've done a hell of a lot of research, what really sort of surprised me was that they took so long to fire him.
Right.
Because in 1967, Keith Richards ran off with Anita Pallenberg, who was Brian Jones's muse. She was one of the most beautiful women in the world.
And he did a very good job of finding somebody to play that part, too, because that girl's stunning.
Yeah, she's stunning in the film, and she's absolutely stunning. And Monet does a great job as one of the most beautiful women in the world. And what happened was, by taking Brian's muse, this incredible model, who could speak Italian and German and English and, you know, was friends with people like Kenneth Anger and Volker Schlornoff, big, you know, German filmmaker. You know, by running off with Anita, because the S&M relationship between Brian and Anita was becoming more S for Brian, he was becoming more and more sadistic, Keith recognized that, grabbed Anita, dumped Brian in Morocco, and that was the point where Brian had lost his best friend, which is Keith Richards, and his muse. And he never found another muse that was quite like Anita Pallenberg. So losing Anita to Keith in 1967 was really the turning point. That was the beginning of the end for Brian. But for 2 years, they kept going with Brian.
Right.
And, you know, he was slumped out and recording sessions. He didn't turn up for days, weeks, you know. They had to overdub other musicians playing his parts. It was terrible. Brian was on a downward spiral. And the only conclusion I can come to as to why they didn't fire the guy and why they took so long was that Brian had all the street cred.
Right.
It was Brian that Pete Townsend looked up to. It was Brian that the other bands at that time, it was, you know, Brian went in 67 to reintroduce Jimi Hendrix back to America. You know, it was Brian who was the kind of main guy of the Stones. And it was Brian was hanging out with Nico and Janis Joplin in Monterey when Jimmy played there again. You know, it was Brian that was the guy you saw at the parties. Brian was the articulate one. He could talk the music. And, you know, Keith and Mick slowly became articulate themselves, slowly began to become, you know, much more in touch with the world that Brian had always lived in. And so his demise was, in parallel to their rising. And I think in the end, it came to a point where they had to tour America again. Mick always wanted to crack America. That was very important for the Rolling Stones. And they realized they couldn't take Brian. He'd now literally become a passenger. And as Keith Richards often said, we couldn't afford to take any passengers. That was it.
Sure.
We're speaking with Stephen Woolley. His new film, Stone, docudrama about the last days of Brian Jones. That opens this Friday in New York and Los Angeles.
Now, were you the house that you used, was that the actual house that the murder took place, or?
No, we found a better house,
and
it's not a docudrama, and we're releasing it next Friday.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, they just give you lies. I'm sure they just supply you lies.
Exactly. I'm used to it.
Yeah. It's actually it's a fiction. It's a drama.
Right.
And there's very little documentary in the film. No, we found a house which is more grim fairy story like.
Right.
I wanted something very gothic, because the house is part of the character of the film. And we found a most amazing house that looks like a gingerbread house, really.
I was thinking about like a new American money, like our rock stars. As soon as you make money, they want the brand new house. They want all the newest stuff. But the English kids, they tend to go back and buy the older castles. It's a whole different lifestyle there.
Yeah, well, I think in the 60s it was very odd because you had all these kind of alternative cutting-edge guys, like Keith Moon and people like Pink Floyd and Genesis. And the first thing they do when they get money is they want to be Lord of the Manor.
Right.
It's kind of weird. They want to get the big Rolls Royce, the big white Rolls Royce, and the big house in the country. And that's kind of odd because they're supposed to, be
city guys, and, right
like
in the middle of everything,
urban guys. But
right.
they all they really want to do is run off to the country and act like squires, which is what Brian was absolutely like.
Right.
He squired it up. He would go down to the local pub and buy all the locals drinks, and he became the kind of the little baron of his area. And that was the kind of ambition. The thing with Brian though was that he was living in this house where A.A. Milne had written Winnie the Pooh, and he was obsessed with Christopher Robin and that whole. He thought he was a sort of Christopher Robin type. He would never get old. He'd always be.
There's like a Michael Jackson Prince thing about him. When I was watching the film, I was thinking of both those guys in modern terms.
Yeah, no, very much that Michael Jackson thing of kind of being like a child man.
Yeah.
And that was the weird thing with Brian, his obsession with Winnie the Pooh and stuff. Like for a 27-year-old is a bit odd. And his effeminate way of dressing, and he was very heterosexual in terms of his women and the gorgeous models that he went out with. But he was always rumoured to have this kind of bisexual side, and it was a very strange kind of character, very odd. I mean, what I found from sort of studying all this stuff and delving into this mad world of Brian Jones was I didn't actually like Brian. I admired him.
Right.
I thought he was an amazing character. Certainly, if he'd lived, he was glam rock before glam rock was invented. I mean, Mark Bolan, David Bowie would have loved him. And the punks would have loved him. I mean, Joe Strummer and Johnny Rotten would have thought Brian was great because there's nothing better he liked to do than start a riot. I mean, that was his thing. But having said that, he wasn't a kind of nice guy. What he did with the builder in my film, with Frank Thorogood, was to drive Frank to a point where Frank ends up killing him.
Right.
And that's how bad Brian could be. I mean, you speak to anyone who really knew him, you'd walk into the room and you'd see the good Brian or the bad Brian. And if the bad Brian was in the room, you'd leave. Get your coat. Leave the party. Don't even bother to be around. If the good Brian was there, take your coat off. It was going to be a great night because Brian was funny and charming and witty and amusing, and he just had two personalities. Keith Richards once said, Brian Jones is the best bunch of guys I ever met, and that's what he was like, and that's what I tried to put over in the movie was that kind of weird shift all the time, the way he would welcome Frankie in, you'd get drunk with him and tell him his life story, and then the next day he'd see him with the builders and he'd pretend he didn't know him, move the wall.
Right.
But it's a war. Just move it.
The guy who plays Frank Petty, Constantine, is it?
Constantine, yeah.
Constantine, who's unbelievable. In America is one of my favorite films he's done. He played this like maybe Frank was a little slow to begin with, though, right?
Yeah, I think the thing about the Frank character for me is, I was born in North London in Islington, and most of my uncles and my dad had fought in the Second World War. And they weren't old guys. They were kind of in their late 30s, some of them in their mid-40s, you know. And yet, in the 60s, time had passed them by. You know, London was a bomb site. It was totally a bomb site, still in the 60s. They were still repairing it. And whereas in America, you know, you didn't really have the blitz that we had.
Right.
You know, we had this terrible blitz, and people like Frank I knew really well. My uncles were very kind of bitter and a little angry. And whenever the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or the Kinks would come on TV, my cousins, who were older than I, you know, they would be watching it, and then my uncles would come back from the pub, and they'd whack them around the back of the head, and they'd tell my cousins, you know, get that miniskirt off, the boys and the girls.
Right.
You know, it would be terrible. You know, it was like this generation gap was so wide. The war had created this kind of, this euphoria in the 40s and 50s that was replaced in the 60s by this kind of bitterness and anger. That we really, what have we achieved? And you don't win a war by getting out of bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, you win a war through discipline and order. And here were these ill-disciplined, you know, effeminate-looking guys getting all the money, getting all the girls, getting all the fame. And here were the guys who fought for that, getting nothing.
Right, because there was no real way of moving up in business in England.
No,
you know
it was
what I mean?
class-dominated.
Pretty much class-dominated.
Yeah, you didn't step out your class. And these kids were stepping out their class, you know, and that was both fascinating but also frightening for the guys like Frank, that they weren't getting what they expected. So he represented for me in the film what Britain was really like. Britain was black and white. You see him at home watching these horrible TV shows that we all watched.
Right.
You know, we only had 2 channels, so you couldn't. You know, it was rubbish on both sides. You sat there with your meal on your legs, you know, boring, horrible, stodgy English food, and life was without any reward.
Right.
So for this guy to suddenly be plunged into the world of Brian Jones, who he would initially hate, and then for him to start to be taken into this world and given a small taste of what the world of Brian Jones might be like, the world of these rock stars would be like, you know, Mick and Keith, and this kind of glamorous world of girls on tap and drugs and money on tap. For him to get a taste of this was extraordinary, and it basically he tasted too much.
Where were the cops? How come there wasn't an arrest? Where was the detective work?
Well, it's the middle of the countryside. The 2 guys who arrested Frank truly believed that he was guilty. They were told from London that Brian Jones, drugs, alcohol-related death, it's a score for the establishment.
Right.
They had been after the Beatles. They had been after the Stones. They'd been placing drugs on Brian Jones. They'd been desperate to get a high-profile arrest or a high-profile death in order to say to the youth in the 60s, do not do this. You know, kids, don't do it. If you become like Brian Jones, you'll end up like Brian Jones.
Right.
And there was an awful time when Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts went to his funeral, and the vicar at the funeral in the pulpit, which was a packed church, you know, basically lacerated Brian Jones for what he had done. This was an evil man who'd done terrible things, you know, and it was a great score for the establishment. They went very softly on the investigation. And what I did over the 12 years was I dug up, you know, Anna Wolin, who was the girlfriend at the time. I found her in Stockholm and I brought her to London. There were 2 books that were written about his murder, so-called murder. But they said there was a big party going on, and there were all sorts of people there, and I didn't buy that. I bought the rights on the book, so I had to cover myself. But I didn't buy what they were saying about his death. So I found Anna Wolin, and she came to London, and she published her book, The Murder of Brian Jones. And what she said to me was it was a very quiet night. There weren't a lot of people around. There wasn't a big party going on. And she doesn't remember all these people that the books say were there. She remembers it was a very hot summer night. The pool was turned up. There was steam coming from the pool. Brian was an incredibly strong swimmer, even though he was he was addicted to those asthmatic pumps, but he wasn't really an asthmatic. And so, you know, it was a very quiet, eerie, hot night, in, you know, English summer's night. So this contradicted an awful lot of what these conspiracy books were talking about. And I bought the rights on her book, but then the police thought they might reopen the case, because all these books were appearing and all these rumours were circulating, but they didn't have enough information. But what they told me was that Janet Lawson, who was this nurse who happened to be there that night, had disappeared off the face of the earth. In 1969, she walked out of the inquest. The police couldn't find her. So on the recommendation of Stanley Kubrick's assistant, I hired another private detective, and I found an address for Janet Lawson. And I wrote a letter to her saying, look, I know you won't speak to the police, I know you won't speak to the papers, I know you won't speak to any of these books, but, you know, I've produced Michael Collins and Scandal and Interview with the Vampire and all these movies, and I would really like to do a proper film about that, you know, Brian Jones. And luckily her daughter was at art college and seen the films I produced and said to her mum, meet with this guy. So she met with me in a field, strangely, in the middle of nowhere in a field. And I taped it for a couple of hours, our interview, and then I took her back to the house a few weeks later and back to the pool where she found Brian's body. I reintroduced her to Tom Keelock, her ex-lover, and I videotaped that for about 4 hours, and them just in conversation about the time and the period and what was going on. And she, again, concurred with Anna. She said there wasn't a big party. She said it was very eerie. And she told me things that she should have told the police. She said that Frank tried to molest her. She said Frank put some strange substance in the food that made her sick.
Mm-hmm.
She said that Frank was shaking so violently that when he came back to the house to find a towel, he couldn't light his cigarette. I mean, these were all the big clues you needed.
Sure.
And Anna gave me the motivation. Again, she didn't tell the police that morning Brian Jones had fired Frank. You know, I mean,
right.
The police didn't know that. They didn't know he was fired. They didn't know that he had been trying to molest Janet and she'd pushed him away. The guy was off his trolley, you know, and they didn't blood test him. He was found with these black bombers, you know, which Frank had. He was never arrested nor charged for possession of drugs. They were legally Brian's, but Frank had them.
Right.
And so all of this stuff was kind of really strange. And what I made with my film is what I believe to be the true story of what happened that night, through my own research, not through the books, not through what's been published, but through what the two women told me. Because although they're in their 50s, they were very, very sound of mind and body. You know, they're not 60s chicks.
Right.
One went back to Sweden and opened a boutique, and it was a businesswoman, and the other went back to the nursing profession, and they never kind of lived the 60s lifestyle. So when you meet them, you're meeting very savvy, very sussed people, unlike a lot of the girls that were part of that scene who lived through, you know, the amount of drugs and the amount of alcohol. You know, like Anita Pallenberg, for instance, who doesn't really make a lot of sense now when you speak to her.
And doesn't look the same, nothing.
No.
Yeah, that whole thing beat her, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being in. The movie is Stoned, Fez.
And it opens Friday the 24th of
Thank
March. Stephen Woolley is here, Stoned.
Take us out with a little Stones, Earl. Thanks so much, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Here
Fez Show, XM 202.
Ron and Fez Show. This is a band out of England before the Arctic Monkeys. As far as I know, this group came out a little bit before the Arctic Monkeys. By the way, did you see them the other night on SNL?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I was very impressed.
Yeah. Young Kinks?
Yeah.
Young Kinks.
Kinks, early Who kind of vibe.
Yeah. I was all ready to bust their balls and all, but I do like saying fucking kids play instruments. Nothing against you, Earl, but I've enough of guys grabbing their balls and telling me how fucking tough they are in their recent purchases.
There is nothing better than the energy of a rock band on stage.
No.
Nothing.
Rare and rare all the time, though. All right, it is the Ron and Fez Show. Looks like we pulled ahead in that poll now, everybody.
That's going on Boston.com. If you want to click on there, go to the business section on that website, Boston.com. They're asking the very simple and easy-to-answer question, which is better, XM or Sirius?
So I guess somebody tried to play a little gimmick against us today, tried to home court us, so we got involved with it right now. XM has taken the lead. If you want to go vote, there's links up on ronfez.net. CosmicCircus.com, TheCosmicCircus.com has links.
And that all links you to Boston.com, where you can vote for which is better, XM or Sirius.
No.
Put in your vote for XM.
All right, here is John. John, you're on the Ron and Fez Show, buddy. What's happening, my man? Let me see. John, there you go, buddy. Got the phone straightened out.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's up there, Ronnie?
Hey, buddy.
It was back, I guess, in the 70s. My Uncle Eddie was the head of security at the Garden, and he used to get us backstage passes. My brother and I saw the Stones there. Let me tell you something. The drugs they did and the drinking they did was amazing.
About what year was this?
I think around 74. I would have to check with my brother, but let me tell you, I never, ever saw Keith Richards. The man, he sleeps in a casket, man, because, oh, my God, I never seen anybody do drugs like he did.
Well, everybody is so proud of Keith now because he just drinks. And the man is never without a drink, and they're going, oh, he's doing great. He's the best. He quit heroin.
He's really turned it around.
Yeah.
He's been drunk for over 30 years, I guess, then, because
At least.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Yeah, he was a big drug addict, and now is just a man who enjoys a drink every now and then.
He did an event with us at the Hard Rock, and he showed up. He has this big, giant overcoat on, and he goes, hello, everybody, would you like a drink? And he opens up the coat and pulls out the biggest bottle of Absolute I've ever seen in my life.
Now, he's already Keith Richards. Before, it's not like, oh, I saw Keith Richards and he did a crazy thing. It would be crazy enough just to meet Keith Richards without even all the other madness. Say, John, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, last time, you're from Philly, right?
Yeah.
76, when the Stones came to Philly, that was a wild time. Hell's Angels climbing the fences, everything. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those 70s Stones thing towards the late 70s, it looked like it was over. It looked like, I mean, some of these shows would only go 40, 50 minutes. They would sell out, but they would really come out and put on a bad show. And then once the 80s hit, Keith cleaned up a little bit, and they got into this professional thing. And now that's been every tour since. You're just seeing that real professional cookie cutter tour, which personally I'd rather have the highs and lows, but that's me.
Bill Graham. Credit Bill Graham again.
Yeah.
He kind of cleaned them up and said, hey, you guys are like the biggest band in the world. You should present a show like you are one.
Yeah.
And
well,
really...
You know, Mick was always professional. Mick was always like a business guy as well, but, you know, Keith was always on his own thing. And he had Ronnie Wood in those days, too. That was before Ronnie kind of cleaned up. The guys that you brought in last night, Black Sabbath, when you were there, no one ever expected Ozzy to live. That was the long shot of long shots.
No, Ozzy was a complete long shot, and he always credits Sharon for saving his life because he was just... At one point, when I think she said when she first met Ozzy, it was a hotel room, empty pizza boxes, and more cocaine than you will ever see in your life.
Like meeting Lazarus.
Yeah, but that's what everybody wanted rock to be. That's what everyone's like, this is perfect. This is the dream. An anonymous hotel room, a lot of drugs, and groupies. That was the whole point of starting a band. Anything else was a disappointment. I saw the Replacements before, just so falling down drunk, not being able to put it together. We brought up the Pogues. There's plenty of times that people thought that that band wasn't going to last.
I remember there was a Replacement show where they never made it to the stage. They were walking out on stage. They literally passed out before they could even strap on the instruments. It was a mess. It was always hit and miss. They were the greatest band you've ever seen. Oh, what are these bunch of drunks doing on the stage?
Right. Well, I never made the greatest band. I always wanted to. All I ever saw was what are these drunks doing out on stage. Hey, Lewis, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Lewis.
Hello. Yeah, I'm curious on this XM Sirius voting thing.
Yeah.
Unless you have both units, how are you supposed to make an informed decision on this? It's like asking someone if they prefer the taste of beef or rat.
Well,
unless you've had both.
Right. But see, here's the thing. I think that, for those people out there that don't have either, they're the ones reading the polls and looking it over. So I would pick beef over rat. I like to think of us as the beef in this one.
Big Beefy XM. Put your vote on Boston.com.
Boston.com, and there's links all over the websites right now. Here's Mike. Mike, you're on Ron and Fez. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good, man.
Hey, I had shots one time with Keith Richards, and he taught me some chords to smoke on the water. The guy is amazing.
Well, I mean, if you don't know the chords to smoke on the water, I'm not sure you should be holding a guitar. That's lesson one right there. Hey, Paul, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, how you doing today?
Good, man.
Good. I was wondering, who do you think is the ultimate, when you think of the lead guitarist of the Stones? I mean, you got Jonesy, who's the original.
Right.
And you got Mick Taylor, who put out, I think the best stuff with Exile and,
Everybody,
Sticky Fingers and whatnot.
That's the thing. No one ever remembers Mick Taylor, but those are the albums. When you think of the real Stones albums, it's the ones with Mick Taylor.
But best stuff, Exile, Sticky Fingers, most of Let It Bleed.
Yeah, and he just never looked like a Stone. He never acted like a Stone. He was always the outsider, I think, in all the video stuff that I've ever seen.
And then Woody's been in the band over 30 years, but he's still the new guy.
He is still the new guy, or East Side Dave, as we call him.
Thanks, guys.
See you later, buddy. Here is Anthony. Anthony, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Good, buddy.
What's up, buddies? Listen, I've been listening. I hear a lot about the Stones.
Yeah.
I don't think that they hold up musically, and especially in terms of influence to the Kinks. All you got to do is watch TV, and in every other commercial, it's a Kinks song.
Yeah, they do. The Kinks were an amazing, amazing band. Ray Davies back on tour, I believe, this summer, right? Or now?
That's right.
He's on tour now.
Yeah. I'd love for you to get them, to see if you can't get them in, Earl.
Well, we've been working on that one for a while, but
Yeah.
Ray's a little particular. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I know he is. Kinks, amazing band, and yet when people start to list like the big 60s bands, the Kinks never make even the top 6, 7. Everybody's always above that. Here's Tony, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, buddy.
I just wanted to make a comment on that caller that called in and said he couldn't make an informed decision. Let me tell you what, I've been forced to listen to Sirius because this damn company I work for put Sirius in all their damn trucks, and I had to go out and buy XM because I knew which one was better.
Oh, thanks, man.
Make sure you vote at Boston.com.
By God, yes, man.
All right, thank you, brother. Here is John. John, you're on the Ron and Fez show. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, John.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you think the Ramones hold up against? I got two things. Yeah. How you think the Ramones hold up against the Kinks, right? And back to what you were doing earlier with the comparison of words. How you do with Porch Monkey and Moulion?
Well, I can't say right now. I can't tell you which one.
When's Earl's coffee break?
Earl drinks tea.
Oh.
Earl takes a high tea, is what he does.
Relaxing.
What did he bring up? The Ramones? It's a whole different era, but both of them are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Jason, you're on Ron and Fez.
Afternoon, boys.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Earl, I've got a question for you. Do you think that Rush should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
My vote is for no. Where do you go on that, Earl?
At the moment, I would say no.
I would say no, and if they even visit, I think the place should be fumigated. That's just me.
They stink that bad?
I'm just saying for myself. It's just one vote. Dry Box, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, apparently I'm not in the majority here, but I think Keith Richards is probably one of the worst guitar players on the stage.
I don't think anybody ever called him one of the great guitar players.
As much time as he's had to practice, you'd think he could at least hit the notes, they're his own song.
It's really about rock and roll, and it's really about songwriting, and in that term, Keith Richards is the ultimate rock and roll guitar player, because it's still kind of a garage band to him. And he always had a lead guitar player with him, too.
Yeah, he always had someone to bounce off of.
Congratulations for making Jimmy's dream come true.
That was real.
To you.
Yeah, that was really nice of you, Earl.
Nice
you did
work.
something good.
No, I mean, just to see that little grin on his face. I mean, he was so happy just to get that picture. It's a picture of him and Sabbath, and they're holding the trophies.
Did you take the picture, Earl?
Yes, I took the picture.
Did it come out nice?
It came out great.
Yeah. Here's Matt. Matt, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, what's up?
Yeah.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
Hey, I'm not talking about musically, but you were talking about who did the most drugs, like the Stones or, people like that. Well, what about Motley Crue? Them guys are couldn't even hardly hold their instruments in the fucking 80s.
Yeah, they were a mess. They were really, when you have a song called Kickstart My Heart, because you're so fucked up, your heart is stopped. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They were.
There's a picture of them.
Yeah.
I was backstage at a Vince Neil solo show right after left the crew, and so messed up back there. It was those people trying to get him on stage. I mean, getting on stage was a goal down the road. It was just understanding English again.
Hey, Tricky Matt, you're on Ron and Fez.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
Hey, Keith Richards, man. What I love about the Stones is no guitar solos. It's all groove.
It is, yeah, it is about the groove, and it's and basically they invented that whole groove too. They at least for white people.
Yeah. Other than Can't You Hear Me Knocking, hardly any guitar solos in any other thing. So Keith Richards has, you think of the grooves of like Brown Sugar or Start Me Up, Satisfaction.
Unfucking believable,
groove and attitude, man.
Thanks, man. We got talking about this because this guy did this thing that was just in here, and Stoned is the film Steve Wolvery was just in. It's really a bizarrely different time now, the 60s, I guess. Here's Jack. Jack, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear of a band that came out at the same time Talking Heads did that was touted to be the next Stones and the Beatles, and Talking Heads were going to be the next Beatles?
Who's that?
The Television?
Oh, with Richard Hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great band.
They were a good band for a short time.
Yeah. Well, that happens with a lot of bands. See, that's the weird thing about the Rolling Stones, is to be able to just fucking keep it together for so long. It's just difficult to be able to pull that off and not have everything just fray at the ends. Hey, Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, I was wondering what you guys thought about the Steve Miller Band, and are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or not?
I don't know. Probably Steve Miller might be in. Is he in?
No, he isn't.
Yeah. No
Oddly
reason for
enough.
me either. I have no reason for him to be in there. I got to tell you the truth. I know that whole keep on rocking me, baby, fly like an eagle thing is big for you. Didn't click for me. That whole Joker, I'm a toker, I'm a smoker.
You didn't like Abracadabra?
No.
Nice try.
It tried to reach out and grab me, but it really didn't work out. Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Ron, you fucking killed me, buddy.
What's that?
You're supposed to be my buddy, and you're destroying Rush, my favorite band in the entire world.
Can't do it, bro. I understand. They're all great players. I understand Geddy Lee's voice goes something else. I just never liked any of that pompous rock. It never worked for me.
They write songs about trees, and then they go closer to the heart.
Yeah.
And you got the best of both worlds.
Trees is, to me, the most embarrassing rock song ever. It really is. About trees having... Trees having a fight is the most embarrassing fucking song in my life.
Come on.
Yeah.
Tell me you don't drop a hit of acid and listen to the Trees song.
First of all, if I dropped a hit of acid and that fucking song came on, I'd rather just sit there and scratch at the wall for sound. And I always need music when I'm tripping, but I'm embarrassed with some of that stuff.
Thanks, Baldy.
Listen, Mike, listen to the lyrics alone. Just so bad. Now, first of all, where are we? Fucking Middle Ages with this?
There is trouble with the trees, for the maples want more sunlight, and the oaks ignore their pleas.
Shut up. What is this, Songs from the Wood? Stop it. Oh, we're getting heavy.
Now we're rocking the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, everybody at the Renaissance Fair loves this because trees are fighting. You know what this is? Metaphor. This is a metaphor, Fez.
Well, who are the maples and who are the oaks?
I don't know. Us and Russia? I don't know. Stupid. All right, just stop. I can't even goof on it. It's too painful for me. Hey, Rusty Knife, you're on Ron and Fez. Listen, wait,
Hey, what's up, bud?
wait, just do this other part. Oh, God, I hate it.
Scary.
All right, go ahead, Rusty Knife.
Hey, what's up, buddies?
Hey,
I
buddy.
hate that band Rush, too. What about Steely Dan? They have some of the best fucking tunes around.
Yeah, they're in the Hall of Fame.
What's up, Glenn?
All right. Earl, you welcomed them into the Hall of Fame, didn't you?
Yeah, I love Steely Dan.
Yeah, me too.
And I might have a present for you from Mr. Donald Fagen.
What's that?
The new album.
I was hoping it was going to be steaks. I would have been so happy if he would have sent steaks over here.
Steely
So
steaks.
this is a single, a solo album he's doing?
Yes, it's called Morph the Cat.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Dave? Thank you. Here is Scoter. Scoter, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Scout.
We're not even going to try it. Not even worth it. Hey, it's our buddy Paranoid. Perry, how you doing, pal?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Great show today.
Yeah, every day.
Exactly. Listen, I've tried to party with rock bands before. Growing up, reading these rock and roll magazines, you get on the bus, and there's only been one band that I've met that actually took me up on an offer to split a bowl, and that was George Clinton. Everyone else basically kicks you off the bus or just, ridicules you, Like, hey, you want to smoke a bowl? They're like, get off the bus, dude. We don't partake. It's like, what happened to rock and roll?
Perry, you don't have tits. The only people that have ever been welcome on a bus was women with tits.
You're
or
right.
if you had some sniz.
I know. Do you remember that band Dishwalla?
Yeah, sure.
They were around.
Counting
for
blue cars?
How many are they up to?
Yeah, I think they're up to 800 blue cars.
They invited us on the bus, and as soon as I tried to get on, they were like, no, we just meant your chick. It's like, oh, thanks. And she goes on the bus, and I got to stand out there and wait for her.
I'm going to tell you what. One time I had to bring them out on stage, and I saw as many people on fucking backstage as they were in front. So Dishwalla, I don't even know how they had a bus.
Yeah, they got a bus, and they're really nice guys, but they only want to hang around with chicks.
I got news for you. I had to do the intro for them. I had my fucking car keys in my hand. Going like this, ladies and gentlemen, here they are, as I'm pointing with my fucking car keys. Because by the time they had the third chord, I wanted to be out of the parking lot.
I can't blame you. But again, George Clinton, he'll take anything from anybody. But
he's good that way.
Rock and roll.
I'll just say this. I know Flat had some experiences that worked out on the right side. And let me just say this. There was a little band called Dog Star where one of the more famous people could go down to the plate like the best of them. Right down like the best of them. Here's Turtle. Turtle, you're on the air. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mahabone, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't agree with you more. Rush sucks. Geddy Lee, every time he opens his mouth, it sounds like every other fucking song he's ever sung. And imagine a rock band wanting to hang out with a chick. That's just unheard of. God, I can't imagine why he would be upset about that.
Yeah, Perry is shocked that someone doesn't want to smoke a bowl with him. That ragweed that he's pulling.
Maybe if he did something with his hair.
Yeah, that Northern Virginia ragweed he's dragging around, fucking dirt pot. Hey, he does have a link up for us, though. Big contest going on. If you go to thecosmiccircus.com, you can pick up the link.
The link to Boston.com, where they're doing the contest. Which is better, XM or Sirius? You can vote for XM by going to Boston.com, and it's in the business section of that website.
Here's Harry. Harry, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Hey, buddies.
How about, I got to just figure out one thing. Rush might suck, but boy, they had an awesome drummer, man.
You know, I just feel like I've been at every party I ever had in my life of someone that tries to convince me that Lack of Soul matters. If you love them, that's great for you. I'm not tearing the band down. I'm just saying they never worked for me.
Ron, I'm about a band, I believe, out of Flint, Michigan called April Wine.
I always thought they were a Canadian band.
Oh, the 20th Century Schizoid Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I thought they was from the Flint area.
Yeah, I think they're from Canada. Here's Jerry. Jerry, you're on Ron and Fez.
Jerry. Yeah, how about the Grateful Dead there, Ronnie? You can't deny them as a fabric of rock and roll history. Those guys are, just look at their fan base. I mean, I'll be hard pressed to find a less dedicated group of people.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Here's the thing about the Grateful Dead. If they did 50,000 tickets in one town, they would travel, 8 hours to another show, another 50,000 people, but it was the same fucking 50,000. They should have just went one place, like Elton John in Vegas, just built the Grateful Dead Stadium and just played there and let people build houses around them. That's what they should have done years ago.
Yeah, but their definition of rock and roll, I mean, those guys there's highs, there's lows, they're nonconformists, never cookie cutter,
Here's
constantly
the thing.
different.
Could you go there? Could you go there straight and listen? That is the fucking thing. If you're not tripping and if you're not high, is it still good?
Well, I trip at every show. I'm not
Thank you. So what you might be a fan of is acid. I'm not saying that definitely, but I'm saying it leads that way. Earl, you've never been high at a show, right?
No, not at all.
And still a music fan?
Yes.
You gotta try it, Earl.
Here's Darren. Darren, you're on Ron and Fez.
Ron, I'm going to have to disagree with you. Geddy Lee has some of the most progressive bass rhythms out there.
Wait a minute. Here's the thing that you said.
You can't listen to Tom Sawyer and not bang your head.
I can. And here's the word that fucking turns me off, progressive. And art rock and that whole thing, it just doesn't work for me. I'm not saying it's not wonderful.
It's got soul.
But there's no fucking soul there, bro.
I'm black. I know what soul is.
Any black guy at Rush, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not black. I want to go that far. You put on your hush puppies and go to a Rush show.
He was at the Sore Thumb tour.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I did not want this to be people trying to convince me to fucking eat asparagus. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's like when you're like, oh, I don't like asparagus, and people are going, no, you got to try it. I've tried it. For me personally, it doesn't get there. Earl, what about for you?
I mean, they're hit and miss with me. Some records are unbelievable. Moving Pictures, great record. Grace Under Pressure, great record. I mean, it's kind of a hit and miss thing, and you got to be in the right frame of mind. But I like a little bit more that.
The only thing I like about Geddy Lee is I would see him around down at spring training. That he would show up for fucking spring training games, and to me, that's you can't beat that.
He was like a huge Expos fan, and I remember one album.
No, Blue Jays.
I mean, yeah, yes, that's absolutely right. And for one album, they actually had the blueprint of the stadium inside the album. That's how much he loved the team.
Yeah.
Collectible.
Yeah. All right, here is Scott. Scott, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
What about Devo?
D-E-V-O?
Yep.
Yeah, it's de-evolution. Sure, I can't say enough things about him. I like the thing I like about Devo is they annoy everybody else. That's the best thing about him. Here's Patrick. You're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, what about Cream and Deep Purple?
Cream, yes. Deep Purple, come on. It's just a fucking silly thing. And believe me, I've been in the fucking car. I understand. I was a highway star myself. I get it. But then we grow up. We have to move on. All right, let's take a break here, Earl. We'll come back and wrap up the show. Fez, you want to plug that website one more time?
Sure, it is Boston.com, where you can go vote for your favorite XM or Sirius. Vote for XM there at Boston.com in the business section of that website.
Now, when we started the show today, Fezzy, we were losing this battle. Now we're up 57% to 42%. Keep on voting. Let's get all of the fan sites out there. RonFez.net.
Whackbag.com. Of course, all links to Boston.com. TheCosmicCircus.com. You can click the link there. And
we also have MySpace as well.
Oh, yeah, Ron and Fez at MySpace. We got the Post Tours. Is that .net?
I think it's .net.
Yeah. So anywhere out there, put the link on there. Let's smoke these guys. We'll be right back. It's the Ron and Fez Show.
I'm coming down to the ATL. That's right, Hot Atlanta. Jim Norton heading down to the Punchline Comedy Club. March 16-18. That's this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Box office number is 404-252-LAUGH, L-A-F-F. That's 404-252-LAFF. March 16 through 18. Thanks, Steve. What's this note say? Atlanta has... Yes, it does. And I'd appreciate it if none of them came to my show.
Your chance to vote in the great debate. XM or Sirius, you can go to Boston.com, put in your vote for XM Satellite Radio on Boston.com. It's the business section of that website. Plus, there's plenty of links up at RonFez.net, Whackbag.com, RonandFezShow.net, FullBlownAids.com.
Not a medical site.
No, do not go there for medical advice.
I learned that the hard way.
Also, posttours.net and myspace.com/RonandFezShow.
That one is a medical site, oddly enough.
That's where I go for pills.
What is it, Eastside Dave? I see you hanging around.
All this Brian Jones talk. How come for greatest band of all time, Brian Jonestown Massacre?
You know what? We forgot to bring up Brian Jonestown Massacre. Let me see why. Oh, here it is. No one cares.
Brian Jonestown Massacre, the man Anton Newcomb plays over 80 instruments.
Someone wrote Nobody Cares
on
the sheet?
At the same time?
Not at the same time, no.
I would only care if he came out playing 80 instruments at the same time. We booked Anton on the show. They were so thrilled there was any interest in him. And Earl, what happened?
He bailed on us. The record company guy was like, Anton, he's disappeared. He doesn't want to do anything. He literally
can't find Anton.
They couldn't find him.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Dropped out.
So you know what we'll just do? Play the Dandy Warhols all day long. The Dandy Warhols are my favorite band.
He's a very mysterious guy, kind of like Brian Jones with the Town Massacre. After.
No, Brian Jones actually got famous.
Oh boy.
Well, it is true.
There is a great documentary out called Dig, a great rockumentary.
Oh, yeah, about the Dandy Warhols. I love those guys. They're my favorite.
What a bunch of pussies, the Dandy Warhols. And that lead singer, Courtney Taylor. Can you get any
I love
sissier.
him. I fucking love him.
Listen to this crap.
Love it. Yeah.
You got a great car. Yeah, what's wrong with it today? I used to have one too. Maybe you'll come and have a look. I really love your hairdo, yeah. I'm glad you like mine too. See, we're looking pretty cool. Get ya.
Fez, you know what I like about this song?
What?
Drives Anton crazy when we play it.
The only thing worse than this song is the video for this song.
Love it.
He poses a lot, this man, like Marilyn
Like
Monroe.
a rock star.
Like you, yeah, I like you. And it feels so bohemian like you. Yeah, I like
Come on, hooky. You feel the hook.
Too hooky. It's too hookerish, he.
Plus, that little chick is cute as hell.
Zia?
Yeah. I don't like any chick that'll sing with no top on. That makes me feel like I can get behind the band. Hey, Tony, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Ronnie, how's it going?
Cool, buddy.
104.76.
No, way to go, old school.
Hoo-ah!
Yeah.
I got a question. Do you think a band like Radiohead or Beck has a chance to make it in the Hall?
Both those bands will go in the Hall of Fame. By the way, Beck will no longer do South Park because he got the word from the church that you can't be part of it. So don't look for Beck on South Park.
That must be in the Sunday worship folder.
I guess the Scientologist thing, when they make the move, you got to follow, right?
Yeah, I guess you get your walking orders there, your marching orders.
Because when we heard Isaac Hayes on O&A, he seemed like he was okay about the jokes that South Park did and did the, hey, you got to roll with it. Then he got the big call from the Scientology Pope. I don't know who exactly that is, the mystery Pope of Scientology, and said, no, you're out of there, bro.
Yeah, because that Scientology episode aired in November.
It airs again tonight.
Oh, nice. So he's getting out now.
Yeah, back on. So he's got to get out of there before it reruns tonight.
I think he was okay with it as long as it didn't really take digs at Scientology.
Oh, yeah, everybody's okay with making fun of other people's beliefs. Sure. Everybody's cool with that. That's the beauty of it.
Especially when it's those wacky Baptists, Earl.
Scooter, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I tried to get a hold of y'all earlier. My phone cut out. Nobody said anything about Bon Jovi, and they've been out there for, 20 years now, and everybody said they'd never make it past 2.
Hey, believe me, I like every housewife in New Jersey, not just Bon Jovi. I think they're all fantastic. You being from Jersey, big Bon Jovi head?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
Even Jersey people have limits, and Bon
I don't
Jovi's
know.
one
Really?
of them. No.
I don't know. Jersey fucking greats Bon Jovi. That giant stadium sold out, I think, 18 and a half shows.
And a half. Well, Bruce Springsteen is the real New Jersey. Him, I would even give Danny DeVito as more New Jersey over Bon Jovi.
Just do me a favor. Can we talk about music once without Springsteen coming up? I love the guy, too. But I would just like to mention other people.
I'm surprised they
Bon Jovi ran this gimmick. They did the one night only gimmick. This is the only show we're going to do this year. And then, of course, it turned into 18 nights at Giant Stadium or something like that.
Sure. They just never leave.
They multiply.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi fans are like gremlins.
Why don't you just do this? Instead, next time, we'll just have those guys hanging from a helicopter, and they can just take the helicopter all around Bon Jovi, and everybody in New Jersey can throw in a few bucks.
I mean, I like Richie Sambora. He seems to be down to earth and everything like that.
What are you, a child? What do you know if he's down to earth or not?
Why
It's
would
more
you care?
More about the music. Do you like the music?
I saw him once on the boardwalk, and he seemed very nice and down to earth. You know,
by the boardwalk, that's the whole fucking state, right? The whole state is what you call the boardwalk. So if you see a guy who's having ice cream on a waffle, you feel like he's a regular guy. He's a good guy.
Exactly. If they do common stuff.
Yeah. I saw him eating ice cream off a waffle. Guy's unbelievable. Hey, Danny, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
I saw Geddy Lee working at a Godiva chocolate about 2 years ago.
Doing a little Stalker Patty joke.
This is a nice little rock war that's going on. On the Velvet Revolver website, Scott Weiland's got some words for Axl Rose, where he calls him a fat, Botox face, wig-wearing fuck.
That's very uncool.
And I'm just wondering which insult hurts the worst out
Didn't
of the
somebody
three.
just, Bon Jovi attacked Axl Rose the other day.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Why does Axl still continue to get press? He can't understand it. He hasn't done anything in so many years. John Bon Jovi's working his ass off and can't get the kind of press Axl gets.
That's the truth, because we've heard your music. But here's the thing, you got to admit, Axl, whether you think he's a nut or what, he's one of those guys, there's at least some mystery around him. There's like, what the hell is he doing down there? It's a mysterious beast. Where Bon Jovi, you know exactly what they're doing.
Any day on the boardwalk.
Chinese Democracy is coming out soon, and it'll be out. It will be the greatest album of all time.
What do you base that on, follower? What is that based on?
I based it on a couple demos I heard from the World Wide Web.
Well, let me hear one. I'm willing to listen. Go get one. Yeah. Go get one. And I guarantee you, whatever song he plays, this is not going to be on the album, at least in the way he's playing it. It'll be something else. Chinese Democracy. Why not just go, that album didn't work, and you come up with a new name? Why are you sitting here for like 10 plus years acting like you're still... This thing better be a quadruple album. It seriously better be the biggest album of all time.
The rest of us had to go on with our lives. Couldn't sit around waiting for Chinese Democracy.
I'll be here when it comes out, but I'm not going to be talking about it every day. Hey, Jeff. Jeff, you're on Ron and Fez.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, buddy.
What can we do for you, Jeff?
What's that?
I'm going to just hang up because you're trying to talk on the phone and listen to the radio at the same time. Fez, last I saw, it looks like we're pulling away in this contest of yours. It's 57-42, even though when we started the show today, we were behind.
Yeah, XM now taking a commanding lead over Sirius in the Boston.com poll. Check it out on Boston.com in the business section there where you can vote for your favorite, XM or Sirius.
We got links up all over. Just go to ronfez.net. Even thecosmiccircus.com has a link. Dave, have you found this Chinese Democracy that you were bragging about so much? I know you haven't. He acts like he's got some kind of an inside move to what's happening with Guns N' Roses.
He's always wired.
I think we're not allowed to play him legally. We did kind of get them. We got the demos a while ago because actually I think it was you who sent them to me, and I was rocking out.
Yeah.
And we're not legally allowed to play them on the air.
Why not?
Because they're not released. They're demos.
Yeah, but we're on satellite. Isn't that all? Isn't that the whole point?
No.
About being on satellite?
No, there would
Wasn't that like you can't bust us in space?
Yeah, we would get sued very hard by W.
Well, just sing some of it to us. It's a Chinese democracy.
It has this one song. It's better. It's a better time. Is gonna rock. It's gonna rock America's world once again. W. Axl Rose back in the fire.
Sure, because it's 87. Why shouldn't we fucking act like it's a big deal? It's still 87 in your world.
Hey, it's gotta be some year.
You couldn't even grow a mullet with that hair, could you? Couldn't even. Have you ever had long hair at all?
No, it looks very peculiar. I look more like Bill Walton. Just that terrible.
You gotta try now.
All right, I forgot when we did this. We were talking about, yesterday we went through stuff. Earl won everything. We were doing, what's the biggest basketball player you ever met? I did meet Bill Walton.
Oh.
I forgot about that out of the fight. 'Cause I guess he's a big fight fan.
Yeah, and arguably the best college player, arguably, of all time.
At least white one. At least the best white college player. Behind that, it was only probably Richie Sambora. We're going back to Richie Sambora.
What about Pistol Pete Maravich?
Love Pistol Pete. Nobody better.
Walton's better just because of the rings, though. I mean, I
Forget
could
it.
score 44 points on LSU in 1965.
Let's see you do it. This guy would shoot the fucking lights out.
Get me a time machine.
Yeah. And 44 would have been an off night for him, my friend. He was averaging around 60.
Yeah, I think he still has the record for most point average per game. It's like he was average 44 points a game.
Yes.
That's
doing
why-
nothing.
That's why I picked that number.
And smoking cigarettes as he's doing it. No, Earl said it because he heard you say it.
That's why I
That
picked the
fucking-
number.
So we're going like, who's the biggest boxer you ever met? I met Frazier before. Earl has to come up with Ali winning. Who's the biggest baseball player? Earl, who'd you have?
I had Mantle and it was a tie between Mantle and DiMaggio.
That's fucking huge. Who's the biggest football player you ever met?
I met Namath.
See, these are fucking annoying as hell to me. Just everything that we could come up with, he would win.
Oh, we were trying to remember, was it a tennis player?
Tennis, I did meet Arthur Ashe. I had him on the show one time.
I also still doubt many of Earl's things because remember, we were quantifying meeting by a handshake and a small conversation. And I have a feeling like Earl spotted Joe DiMaggio, 2 blocks
Earl,
away.
give it
getting
to
into
us.
a cab.
No, my most prized possession on this earth is my Mantle and
My
DiMaggio.
balls.
Mama.
Besides that,
All right, go ahead.
Mantle autographed baseball card, DiMaggio autographed baseball
You can't
card.
beat that.
But that's not meeting. Did you shake their hands and get into a conversation?
He met them.
He shook the hand that shook the world. That's what fucking DiMaggio said. He said, come here, black boy. You shake the hand that shook the world. Shake the hand that used to shake Marilyn Monroe's head.
With trembling hands, I met them both.
All sweaty, just sweating all over him.
Pissing yourself.
I was
Black
a mess.
sweat, as Prince puts it.
I was a total mess, but it was greatness. I mean, DiMaggio's an icon. I mean, Mickey Mantle's an icon.
Well, I got my own radio show, so I'm doing okay, too. It's on satellite. Go to Boston.com. You'll see we just took a big lead right now over Sirius. Things are happening. This because you met them. Don't make me feel bad about myself, Earl.
Well, I work with icons.
Oh, see? Now you're back. This is the Earl little Jimmy loves. This is the Earl that Jimmy Norton loves now.
I work with icons.
He just means a keyboard that he double clicks on a
Son
lot.
of a bitch. Is that what it is?
No.
Hey, Paulie, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Yeah.
My name is Go Fez. Hey, I was going to say, besides Jack and Diane that I can't fucking stand, what about John Mellencamp?
Just hearing Mellon makes me starving right now. It's a little too close to lunch for me. Mellencamp, did he go in that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
I met him not too long ago, right around the corner from him, from here, a couple months ago. I was walking home. He was out there with his chick. He's the tiniest little man. I mean, I wanted to just put him in my pocket and take him home and feed him with an eyedropper. He's so little.
What's that living in that shoebox?
What did I say he was singing somewhere? I forget. Like one of the ball games or something. I forgot what it was. He was just on TV the other night.
I know he did a tour with Fogerty. It was like the John tour. Very hokey.
Hey, we sound the same tour. Come see us. Here's Alex. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a old school GNR fan, and I've heard this new stuff, and it sucks, man. It's not good at all.
There you
Axl
go.
sounds fat and bloated when he sings it.
Not to me. To me, he sounds just like the Serpentine King of 1988.
Hold on, let me just get this back. Your comeback was not to me. That's the way you defended yourself against this mean mutt.
It's still real to me, damn it!
God, you sound just like him, Fez. You sound exactly like him.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Hey, Tucker J, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I miss Extravaganza Fez. Hey, real quick, Big and Rich have that little midget that runs around their stage. I think Eastside Dave should join up with Axl Rose and run around like the fucking retard he is.
I honestly believe in the future, everyone will be in Guns N' Roses for 15 minutes. Everyone will get their opportunity to play on Chinese Democracy.
That'd be so awesome.
I don't think Axl's going to let another redhead on stage.
And I guarantee you, this Chinese Democracy album, if it ever does come out, will be banned in China. They will not want this thing. Look at this, we won't now! This duck's still alive! Cha-cha-cha!
I think they've already banned the title because they just said, well, that's just not appropriate.
Yeah, it's not true. First of all, it's not true. So stop clapping your little hands and stop your little glowing, slanted eyes from beaming. You're not going to get the vote. Talk about little people. Oh, they're tiny over there in China. Tiny. The women are about as big as your dick. That's why white guys love to go over there. When you're banging somebody the same size as your own dick. It's like putting on a rubber with a lot of those girls.
Yeah.
You're just wrapping them around. Hey, Seth, you're on Ron and Fez.
What's up, buddies?
Yeah.
Just want to know what's going to come out first, Chinese democracy or democracy in China?
Just stop it, would you please? We just did 5 minutes on it.
That's why CDs get banned, sir.
Dallas, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hello, good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Great. Thanks for
All right.
being with us.
I'm just kind of wondering, how about Bob Seger? What do you think of Bob Seger?
If we're ever doing the commercial Hall of Fame, I'd love for him to go in for Ford. I guess he is in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yes.
But, I hear like a rock, and I just think of a truck commercial.
Old-time rock and roll is maybe the worst rock and roll hit in the history of the genre.
That's because it's rock and roll that your mom likes. That's the problem with it.
It's on every single preview where it's like a kid's movie and they have like a baby.
And it's at every wedding. And you'll just see your uncles hop up. Oh my God, it's my song. They're grabbing your aunt.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, stop it, Earl. Seriously.
To old people, this is Metallica. They're like, okay, we can.
I guarantee you this will be playing at Jersey Rich's wedding when you go there. And Jersey Rich and all the guys in the wedding will have on those sunglasses and the blow-up saxophone. And everybody's acting like it's great. Hey, Sean, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I know Earl's met a lot of celebrities. I was wondering if you ever met Fidel Castro, say 2 years ago in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Asshole!
Earl, who is the biggest political leader that you ever met?
Mayor Dinkins.
All right. Mine was George Sr., the first George Bush. But look at this, Earl. While he was president.
Nice.
I brought him out on stage. Had my fucking car keys in my hand, just like with Dishwalla. But when you meet the president, as he's a standing fucking president, even if you don't like the guy, now you are shaking the hand that shook the hand all the way back to George Washington. To me, the president and the Pope will be the two biggest fucking, you can't have more power than that. Or the secret Pope of Scientology.
Who's ever given Isaac Hayes his firing papers? You go in there and you quit, Isaac Hayes.
But I'm making money.
That doesn't matter. You're a Scientologist. They're making fools of us.
They pay me money for talking.
All right, maybe a little time on the e-meter.
Okay, I quit. They fucking have everything that he's ever said before. Anytime that he's ever jacked off looking at a picture of a squirrel, that's already recorded. So everything can come out on you. That's the problem.
They could probably do another 2 seasons of episodes. They've got, hello, children.
Yeah, he didn't do much more than that. So why doesn't he really prove how sick those guys make him and send all the cash back? Then I would say, man, he really is mad. If all of a sudden a big box of money showed up of everything that he ever made before.
I cannot accept this. This is blood money against my religion, Scientology.
Well, that's going to be on tonight. I want to give it a watch. And give me an update right now on what the contest numbers are.
All right.
Give me the latest update. Okay. We'll announce that. Head out and vote before we started the show today, Fezzi. We were getting beat. Now as we come in, we are taking the lead. XM against Sirius.
We'll get those latest numbers for you. You can keep voting at boston.com. XM versus Sirius. Go ahead, vote for XM. If you want to go to one of the websites to click a link there, ronfez.net, whackbag.com, ronandfezshow.net, fullblownaids.com.
Not a medical site.
Posttours.net, thecosmiccircus.com, and myspace.com/ronandfezshow.
All right, let's talk with Eastside Dave. Dave, before the show today, what was the score?
51% for Sirius.
Yeah.
48% for XM.
Right. And remember, this is going to be read by Hayseeds in Boston, who have never even had satellite radio, and we're going to hear a lie like this. What do we got now?
The latest thing.
Yeah.
63% XM, 36% Sirius.
Fucking smoking them.
That's ridiculous.
It's like the Dandy Warhols taking off over the Brian Jonestown massacre.
No, that wasn't necessary.
I just want to point out something. I'm just trying to make a judgment call. It's not against you.
All right.
And certainly not against. I'm just saying at the end of that film, when you saw how well the Dandies were doing, we all know.
They have some talent, but they are a little arrogant, whereas the Brian Jonestown massacre is earthy and real.
Yeah. Did you just get another update there, Dave?
Another update.
Yes.
66% now XM, 33% Sirius.
Smoking them. Keep on voting, folks.
Keep going to Boston.com. If you're on that website, you go to the business section of it to vote for XM.
That's where I go anyway. When I go to a website, I go straight for the business section. You know why?
Why is that?
Taking care of business
Oh.
every day. We're taking care of business in every way.
Nah, I miss Fat Baby.
I mean, since we're talking about rock and roll and taking care of business, real quick, my brother got me a belt buckle in Graceland, TCB, because Elvis used to actually give them to his staff for, like, Christmas gifts, though.
Well, he gave it to him in diamonds. Did your brother get one of those?
No, it was very cheap plastic.
Taking care of business, man. Always TCB.
And if it was really special, it would be TCB with a lightning bolt, because that meant you were taking care of business in a flash.
I never knew. I always saw the logo with a lightning bolt, but I never knew it meant in a flash.
That may be my next tattoo. I like that TCB
You want to
logo.
do that?
I got to wait till November before I can get another tattoo.
Why?
Because I can't do it with the blood thinners that I'm on.
Why not? You just bleed all over the place.
It'll be gushing in here.
I think if you bleed out, Fezzy, you'll feel healthier. The one thing you need is to seriously bleed out.
Get that old heart attack blood out of me.
All right, that's it for us, folks. A lot of fun today. A lot of fun just hanging out. Just a couple more days for us, but a big party's coming up April 1st.
April 1st at McFadden's. Join your buddies, Ron and Fez, at McFadden's on 2nd Avenue in New York City between 42nd and 43rd Street. Party starts about 9 o'clock. That's a Saturday night.
And Fez has given his birthday party over to his new best buddy, Eastside Dave.
That's extremely nice. Maybe can I give it back, maybe?
No, keep it. I'm a new guy.
I may even give you my birthday wish.
And cake.
No. Yes, I love cake.
Yeah.
And wishes.
And I was going to give Fez 5G, so I'll just turn it over and give it to Eastside Dave.
I need that back.
We'll see you guys tomorrow after the fabulous Opie and Anthony show. Take care.
The Ron and Fez Show. XM 202.